Skin on stream.
Oh, damn. I was going to go grab a hat, but I guess.
My bad. My bad. I just started it. You can still grab the hat though.
Mm. All right, let me go get it. I'm trying to figure out where it's at. I don't know how far I was.
Oh, so you gotta look for L low.
No, it might just be in my. It might be in this bedroom or that one, or maybe the bedroom downstairs. It's one of those 3 bedrooms.
You know what? Never mind. You don't have to look for that.
What? I'm just saying it might just be. I mean, I don't know which bedroom it's in, bro.
The people here for you, bro. So there's
Mm.
only so much I could say before, and God forbid you can't find it, and we got 5 minutes of just me up here alone. No,
Yeah, man.
we're not doing
It
that.
ain't gonna take that long. I mean, it normally only take me about 4 minutes to go from one side of the wing to the other. So
Oh, so you balling now too?
what? I'm
You said
talking about.
one side of the wing to the other. That's your body.
Kind of been that way for a while, but go ahead. What do you say?
So when we talk about degree of difficulty, right?
Oh my god!
What's your feeling about layups and dunks?
Oh my god!
What's your feeling about layups and dunks?
Dub, can we talk about Jokic, man?
We are. I just have a question.
Go ahead.
What is your stance on layups and dunks?
What about them?
Like,
Are they difficult?
Like that's the easiest. Like that's the least difficult shot out of.
It depends. You think
What?
which one you think is easier? Trying to lay the ball up on Ben Wallace, or
I'm just saying
trying to shoot over Tony Allen.
You're being nasty.
Which one? No. Which one? No. Seriously, which one do you think is easier?
You're really being nasty.
I'm asking the question right now.
No.
Which one do you
really
think is
nasty.
easier?
On average, in terms of efficiency.
I get, but for Kevin Durant, which one is more
I'm just
difficult?
asking a question.
I'm asking a question
average,
too. I'm trying to make sure we're on the same page.
Layups and dunks, or jump shots.
It just depends, bro. I need
it
more
don't
context.
depend. Cut it
does.
out. No,
if Kevin Durant is shooting over Tony Allen, that is easier than Kevin Durant trying to lay up on Ben Wallace. That's just a fact.
Kevin Durant or LeBron James?
Both.
I'm just saying, man, when we look at these guys and then I look back at the numbers, LeBron James' efficiency is living at the layups and dunk range, man.
But he also but his efficiency on mids is not terrible.
Especially but the shot attempts aren't there compared to KD's.
Fair.
Like it's actually a crazy disparity between the two.
That's fair.
But we don't have to revisit that conversation.
Please, because you don't want to trust.
Oh, I just ask you because I'm fine. My whole thing is your consistency with degree of difficulty. I need to understand where you are, how you feel about layups and dunks.
Do you think LeBron gets easy looks at the rim?
No, I don't get easy, but I still think a layup and dunk is easier, especially with like how dominant he is too. So
they can use the same argument with Kevin Durant. I think a shot is easier, especially when he's 7 feet tall and he's being defended by wings.
Fair. No, fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
But which one's easier, Kevin Durant jump shot or LeBron James layup?
I think LeBron gets, even when he's at the rim, I think there's more times where there's multiple people defending him at the rim than there are multiple people defending KD on the jump shot.
Interesting.
And you know that to be the case too.
Interesting.
You know that'd be the case.
Who knows? Not 2016.
Who for who?
For KD.
Yeah, KD. It was pretty tough for him to get a shot.
Very tough for him all across the board.
But when he was on that team, man, he got good looks. You saw what he looked like.
But you praise what OKC or LeBron?
No, Golden State. He's with the Warriors. For those who don't know, we had this ongoing conversation about scoring and how I look at it in degree of difficulty. I'm just not too high on Kevin Durant. I still think he's like a top 5 to 7 scorer of all time. So it's not like I don't think he's a top 10 scorer. But I'm not as high on Kevin Durant as a lot of other people because I genuinely believe he's benefited more from situations of basically always having a quality to an elite level playmaker, and especially when he was with the Warriors, more than enough floor spacing, where I don't think that can be the same said about like a lot of other players in my top 3 to 7. And for whatever reason, even when they saw some noticeable drops it wasn't as noticeable as KD, and also they still looked really sound against elite level defensive talent as well in the playoffs. But I mean, KD's still up there. I mean, that's what's wrong. I mean, he's fine.
Nah, it's just the reasonings you pick is just it seems inconsistent, but
It seems inconsistent.
I think it is. I just think you really just hate Kevin Durant for some reason.
No, man, I love KD, man. He's a hooper, man. Hezzy
And
tween got the bag.
NP13 with a super chat. Low putting in that work, podcast to podcast, plus playback uploads. Respect the work ethic, brother.
Yeah, I just edited a part of that video too, that playback video. I mean, I'm out here hustling, grinding. Got to get to that bag.
I play 100 years plus superstar production with great to good teams. Can never win regardless of my role and longevity. How great am I, low? Others won more in less time with less. Winning intangibles.
I play 100 plus years, superstar production with good to great teams. I would assume that there's something had to happen. That's you're saying something that's like very, very unique that doesn't really happen. So either you might have superstar production, however, there's like all-time great production that's probably being produced on the other side, and that's why you struggle to beat those teams. So I would probably say you're probably a top at best 15 to 30. Because I think there's players who fall within the range of 15 to 30 who are superstars who don't have championships. So just because you're a superstar doesn't necessarily mean it's going to immediately result into a championship. There's several superstars who just didn't perform at all-time highs when needed, unlike the other players who tend to be in the top of the list.
Word. I hope that guy pulls up that was talking about Denver. Before we let everyone through, do you have
Let's
any
talk about the Nuggets,
agendas?
man. Yes, let's
Go
talk about the Nuggets. I want people to, and we can I'm gonna give you a lot of quotes for TikTok as well, Dub, or whoever's going to be editing this, because I think there needs to be a lot of understanding of what's going on right now with the Nuggets and Jokic in particular. Let me look into the camera too as well. Let me get it in. What you all are witnessing is a top 5 offensive player of all time. You need to start respecting that as well. We had this conversation for the past couple of months now, and we're here now. We can finally start acknowledging. It's very odd to me that it took for us to get here, but it is what it is. Some of you all just casuals, and this is how you all just speak about basketball, and that's fine. But Jokic is like literally one of the greatest offensive pieces that you've ever witnessed in your life. Don't ever lie and act as if like you've ever seen this in your life. He just ran through the Western Conference. I believe in relatively. Was that difficult? Do you think, Dub, for Jokic to get through the West?
Not really.
Not really. So, like I said 2 months ago, when I said Jokic is going to go through. No, really, it was probably like 2-3 weeks ago. It probably wasn't even a whole month yet. Jokic is going to go through the Western Conference with relative ease. And then people sat there and said, "Oh, what about AD? What about AD?" And they start referencing things that happened in 2020. Not only are we talking about somebody who's seen noticeable improvements since 2020, but more importantly, we're talking about a team with the Lakers that needed multiple bodies to throw at him. We got to start talking about how players are being defended, how they're getting assists, how they're impacting offense beyond just the box score. And when you watch these games, we're talking about somebody who receives a level of defensive attention that is on par with peak Curry, peak LeBron, peak MJ, and still performing at heights that is on par with some of the most productive offensive seasons and postseason runs we've ever seen in NBA history, even relative to era. Even if you want to give him a tax of the lack of size that surrounds him in terms of competition, it's still up there. So I don't know. I look at what Jokic is doing. I look at what he's been able to produce. I look at even the Nuggets from a standpoint as well. Like Jamal Murray, yet again, is a playoff riser. He's performing at ridiculous highs. Never been an all-star, never been an all-NBA performer, but he has scoring explosions that puts him in those same conversations with those caliber players. I look at what MPJ is doing. He has the ability where there's this concept that he's this egregiously bad defender, and that's not the case at all. I would easily argue he's actually been a positive defender. And then 2 other solid quality rotation pieces and role players in Aaron Gordon and KCP. So a very well-rounded team. And even though I had my reservations about who they were going to be defensively, depending on the matchups, here we are now. They're in the finals, and they're probably going to go up against a team that still will not be able to exploit their problems in terms of their defensive concerns. And so more than likely, we are seeing the route of Jokic going on to winning a championship. And when you put into context, especially this is what y'all like to do, when you put into context what he's accomplished and what he more than likely will continue to accomplish, it needs to be known, more than likely y'all are watching a top 20 to 25 player of all time ascend right before your eyes. And I think that many people did not appreciate it while it was going on. So we need to start taking the time out to start appreciating it now, because I don't want you all to do the same thing many people did to Curry in 2015, 2016, where it was like, oh, he's only been doing this for like a year or two. Like, no, Jokic has been doing it for about 3 to 4 years now, similar to when Curry back in the day when y'all act as if like he only did it for a year or two. He too had been doing it for about 3 or 4 years. And I don't know, personally speaking, I have Jokic over quite a few centers in NBA history.
Where's Jokic ranked right now for you?
And if he continues on his path, he puts up what he puts up, and what I believe it will translate to a championship, I genuinely believe he would be in conversation to be like a top 5 to 7 center of all time.
And
which I don't think is that crazy. I don't think that'll be that crazy. It'll take
better than Bill Russell or Wilt Chamberlain.
Kareem, Bill, Hakeem, Shaq, Wilt. Those are the 5 that I'm willing to pause on. Everyone else, in my opinion, should be in the conversation. Is debatable, unless I'm missing a name here.
No. Outside of that, because that's why you said top 5. That's why I brought up those names. But outside of that, it could be debatable.
Yeah.
Last question before we light everyone up: is he a better offensive player than Magic Johnson?
For me, it wasn't Magic. It was in question. It was Steve Nash. For me, it was. He's definitely a better offensive player than Kobe. Sorry to tell people that. At his peak right now, unless you want to say longevity, if you want to argue longevity, that's fine. If that's your argument for sure. But if you want to argue like at their best, at their absolute best, I don't know, guys. I don't know what to tell you guys. I still think Magic is Magic. What Magic was doing was pretty. It's pretty.
Well, he's number 8 now, so we're not gonna do too much. You already.
Oh yeah. Let's do that real quick before we bring him up. I did move Magic Johnson down to number 8 all time. Mars and Dub peer pressured me. Okay, all right, Jesus.
Yeah.
You'll get your credit. Calm down. Mars and Dub peer pressured me, and I pushed them down a little bit. But I don't think I can go any lower than 8. The problem with Jokic is that I just need him to I need to see what he looks like at his absolute best for an extended period of time with help, because this season, it's really, in my opinion, you have to get to the point where you're able to really carry an offensive team to like historic heights, and they have not. There's never been a point where Jokic has been able to translate an offensive unit to historic heights. It's just never been that moment.
Okay, no problem. Why do you and Mars do that? You rank the team and then apply it to the individual player.
Because normally, especially when we're talking about offensive weapons like Magic, like Curry, like Nash, like MJ, Bron, normally they have so much influence of what is happening in their era that they can actually influence their offense so immensely that it can raise to that level. So sure, they can still have quality offensive pieces, but there's a difference. I think you do reach new rare air when you can take a team that has potential to be a top 10 or top 5 offense to heights that are so ridiculously high that at any point throughout a season, nobody can even keep up with them offensively. I think that's a very rare air, and especially when a lot of that can be the catalyst behind a specific player. And sustain that over an entire 82 game season.
I just find it weird equating team success to individual success, but
and to be fair, again, these are still great offensive, talented teams. So again, I still think, like I said before, they can still be top 5 or top 10 offensive teams even without those players or a lesser version of a superstar around them. But I think that you do put yourself in rare air when you can take a top 5 offensive unit and turn that into an all-time great offensive unit. I think that's more difficult than I think you realize.
I think you overrated a bit, but
okay,
we could just agree to disagree. Don't make me call James low. Who the hell is James?
Somebody that Ticket had me arguing with, and he got completely demolished.
Oh, okay, cool. Can we talk about how playmaking has climbed the hierarchy of required skills to categorize yourself as top 5 players? Single skill stars aren't it?
I agree, but I've said I spoke about this on my main channel this year, where I think with what LeBron brought to the table is that you have to be more than just like this one-dimensional offensive piece, where you have to bring more to the table and it just become more accustomed that you can be a scoring threat, do it that efficiently while also being a quality ball handler and shot creator not only for yourself but everyone else, and then also doing that in various different manners. I think LeBron really forced us to start having different conversations about how offensive players look. Like right now, like the way that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, their concerns about being ball handlers, back in the day, that was a normal thing. That was normal for like a wing to like Paul Pierce and Carmelo. Like it's a telling, hey, Paul Pierce and Carmelo Anthony, y'all need to become better ball handlers and playmakers. Like we were never asking them to do that. But in today's game, like that is something that we, you know what I'm
It's a
saying?
necessity.
It's a necessity. It's a
Like
necessity.
Jason Tatum, he needed, and
He
actually,
needs
shout out
that.
to Jason Tatum. He has made a lot of improvements on his ball handling
Without a doubt.
and passing. So shout out to him for that. And that's really what kept them from winning last season. If he
Mhm.
was better at that, that could have been the factor if they won or lost to the Golden State Warriors. But
Shout out to KD too, because I think Quiet as Kept KD also brought a lot of that to the game as well. Where I think he even like Kevin Durant in like most eras in NBA history would just be coming off of screens or post ups, and that's really it. But he has added a lot of to his game as a ball handler. I think him and LeBron really pushed that forward way more than I think people probably give him credit for. But I hate KD, so he sucks.
yeah. The only person that didn't do that is Steph. That's all.
Well, Steph, he's a guard, so he's already expected.
I'm playing with you. I'm playing with you.
Pause. Pause.
Yeah, pause that. 100. Yo, what's good, fellas? How y'all feeling?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, Dub, bro. Can you put the link into the chat one more time so I can go on my computer?
Oh yeah, no
All
problem.
right, cool, bro. Thank you, sir.
Look at this man, Najee. Oh my gosh.
I'll put you in the back room, all right?
We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Najee. We can't hear you.
What's good, Lo? Address me as Dean's List graduate, Najee.
Congrats, bro.
Congratulations.
Mm-hmm. These list is fire too.
It's not that. It's not that impressive.
On my way out, my last semester, finish.
What you graduating with?
You said what?
What are you graduating with?
Journalism and data analyst degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Now let's talk hoops, man. I got some questions for you, my boy.
He almost said he trying to have the change of. Never mind. Go ahead.
First question is about Jokic, and I'm on the Jokic wave too. I'm not going to expose you about how you used to be a Stockton stan too a couple years ago. I found, but anyways,
really, whoa.
Yeah, I found some tweets about you going that CP3 for Stockton. But anyways, I ain't gonna expose you up here. But is
how
Jokic,
many years ago was that? But whatever.
2021. Is Jokic?
It was recently. That's not a long time ago.
He was a fraud at that time.
Yeah.
Who
is
CP3,
Jokic scoring numbers versus
Nasty.
LA gas because of his lack of ability to force shots? Well, not lack of ability, but his
against LA or against
because when I was looking at the numbers, I think LA plays some good defense on his scoring, but his numbers look crazy. But I'm like, he didn't force a lot of shots. And the best type of defense is not even allowing a shot attempt at all.
I think his numbers are gas just because of game one. The rest of the series, they're not that gas. If you look at games 3 and 4, they're not 3 and 4, excuse me, 2, 3, and 4. They're not as gassed. Like I know for a fact he subbed 50% from the field after game one. Like I think it's actually just game one that really gassed it up. I don't think it's the other ones. Also, I don't really in that series, I don't really blame him for having stretches where he's not being aggressive because Jamal Murray was like,
I agree. I agree.
Right.
So I don't. If it's the idea of like taxing him because Jamal Murray, for not being aggressive, I think that's more of a Jamal Murray tax more so than anything else. I'm fine with Jokic not trying to insert himself in a situation where it's not need to be, but I actually think that his Lakers series is gas just because of game one. I don't think it's because of anything else. Yeah, after game one, his shooting splits were 45, 35, and 74.
I kind of blame him from those games being kind of close too, because it was numerous times early in the first half of games where you'll watch him just pass up open shots, and it's like, bro, just start off aggressive and just start off scoring the ball like when the shot opportunities is there, like layups at the rim of transition. He's kicking out for misses and stuff. So I'm like, maybe like it's kind of his fault. Like Jamal had to go crazy towards the end of some games because like he didn't assert himself at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely argue that. I also just think that he went up against a team that made a more concerted effort to like defend him versus anyone else. And I don't think that as great as Jamal Murray is, he's not as much as an advantage creator as like a lot of other players have had on their teams throughout the years. So I tax him a little bit for not being aggressive, but then I also know like with him still being a playmaker, he's still trying to assess what's going on and try to make the proper reads because he knows for a fact the only way that he's going to be able to get going is if everybody else is going, because there's nobody else who's on the team that's really going to be like create their own shot on a consistent basis, and so much so that is going to generate quality looks for himself. So,
Max, what you got to say, bro?
Well, I mean, I kind of echo what Lo was saying, man, because to me, it's actually a compliment to Joker because sometimes guys who are that elite scoring, if they force it, it hurts the team. And so Joker was still being impactful in big moments with his playmaking. His I'm gonna call him somewhat of a D-court at times on the court. And again, man, every open shot to me is not a good shot, right? I mean, that's what young teams do, right? They take the first available shot. And so while Joker wasn't being his efficient self or scoring big time points, I thought once Denver slowed the ball down and Jokic really assessed what the defense was doing, he picked him apart. And again, bro, impacting a game isn't always sourced on what you do scoring the basketball. Like there's different phases to like to a game. And so you saw Joker slow it down, face the defense, right? Meaning now it's back to the basket. I'm going to face the defense, see what you're coming with, and then pick you apart. And so to me, his scoring or his lack thereof, to me, bro, let's give Mike Malone and Joker credit because Mike told you after game one, what y'all think? We ain't never seen this coverage before. Bro, they made the adjustment just like that. And so to me, that's a compliment to a team adjusting on the fly and picking their spots and listen, man, I said this in the first 3 games. I said, whatever Memphis and the Warriors didn't do to make the Lakers pay for their mistakes, Denver took advantage of every mistake they made in that series. Every mistake Lakers made, Denver made them pay. Every single time. And so to me, it's a compliment. I'm not going to kill Joker because he wasn't scoring. I mean, bro, it's 5-on-5. I mean, he can't do everything.
That is a fact. I agree with you.
I'm not here for this buddy shit. I'm not even going to hold you.
Oh,
I want to hear the John Stockton thing that No Layup was talking about. That
oh my god,
and Mr. Maz.
Oh, I wasn't.
And Mr. Maz, I want to hear what you think about John Stockton right after that.
But my god, what does it matter?
That. Go ahead, Layup. I want to hear this. I'm all ears. Go ahead, bro. Expose him.
Lo, I want you to admit before I pull up word for word, bar for what you said.
What did I say?
You had Stockton clear over CP3 like it wasn't even an argument, and you used
in 2021.
Yes, and you used a lot of the winning and CP3 not winning arguments that the old heads, the casuals that didn't watch basketball use. But you were using those arguments before. So when did the shift in your mindset basketball wise come? Is it when you started hopping in NBA Twitter group chats and spaces? Then you woke up?
When in 2021?
It had to be, if I got to go back to Jay Pickup's page, but I think it was an August.
August of 2021?
Yes, if I remember correctly.
I'm looking at tweets of mine in the beginning part of 2021 where I have Chris Paul at 5 and then Stockton at 10.
Let me find it because I'll find it for you because you're
oh man.
Low is a cap. Low remember what he said in 2021. That's wild.
Top 15 that have never won a ring. Chris Paul is 3rd. John Stockton is 10. Okay. Thoughts. Top 10 point guard list of all time. Chris Paul 5, Stockton 10. Somebody asked me rank these players: Chris Paul, Steve Nash, John Stockton, Jason Kidd. I say Chris Paul, Steve Nash, J. Kidd, Stockton.
Let me find
and that was March 21. I don't know. Hoop Central says, who's the best role player in NBA history? I responded with John Stockton. That was in 2020.
Oh man,
bro, I just seen it the other day. So are you deleting
this is looking bad, bro.
This is looking bad.
brag
supposed
low,
to be
but I
ready, man.
need
You're
it.
supposed to
It's
be
not
prepared, man.
low.
You are
This is
supposed to be
looking
prepared.
It is
bad.
looking
Hey,
bad.
but
Because
Matt,
my John Stockton and Karl Malone crusade started in 2020, where I dropped the why John Stockton is one of the most overrated NBA players of all time in 2020. So when you're saying 2021,
I know, so it must have had to been before that.
it had
But I
to be before that.
Yeah, I
It
vividly remember that you was a Stockton fan.
chat.
had to be before that.
Chad, let
Yeah.
me know if I need to send him to hell. Mr. Mass, I want to hear what your thoughts about John Stockton being
Oh,
the 10th
man.
best point guard in NBA history.
When we're talking pure point guard, to me, he's like top three. He's between probably 3 or 5. I got Magic, Isaiah Thomas, and then I got Jason Kidd, John Stockton, Mark Jackson, Nash, guys like that right behind them. But is this argument about passing and playmaking or just pure point guard?
Low.
What is a pure point guard?
I don't know what a pure point guard is either. I don't understand.
I don't know.
that.
Well, not these hybrid. Well, I mean, not these hybrid, big guards who look to score. I'm talking about like the prototypical point guards, right? Mark Jackson, John Stockton, Jason Kidd.
What is Jerry West?
I don't look at Jerry West as a point guard like that. To me, I think Jerry is a bigger guard who can score, but he can also pass.
But he was a point guard back in the day.
So he was the exception back in the day. Lo, you know that.
Oscar Robertson?
That's 2.
What was awesome?
Was Dave Bing?
Who?
No, you just don't know hoops tonight.
No.
Dave Bing, he was a guard for the Pistons in the 60s and 70s.
Okay, so you named 3 or 4 guys, bro. Those are the
It
exceptions.
was only like 8 teams.
Again,
I don't know what to,
I'm talking about.
not that many teams back in the 60s.
Lo, I mean, you want me to break down, explain what a prototypical point guard is? We're talking about the prototypical point guard. Mark Jackson,
They can't be prototypical point guards if players before them who are point guards. Who's making a prototype for it to be a prototypical point guard? The players in the 80s or the players in the 60s?
Because Oscar didn't play that prototypical role that you're talking about.
Yeah, so who will be the prototype for it to be prototypical?
How big was Oscar? 6'3", 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah,
6'5".
he a fat ass.
About 6'5". Yeah. So I mean, listen.
What?
I mean, just because you put up, damn, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
My bad, Master.
Just because you put a guy at 6'5" at the point guard position, a la James Harden, right? I mean, is he really the prototypical point guard? Because I don't look at Oscar as to me, I think Oscar can play the 2 guard in any era.
He probably could, but why?
Yeah.
Again, I'm asking the question: what makes 80 players the prototype?
Well, just
if there was
okay. Listen, man. Let's get away from the word prototypical. Okay, my bad. I shouldn't use that word.
Okay.
Let's just focus on playmaking, right? What you're assigned to do to run the show, right? Playmaking, passing. So you think that Joker is a better passer or playmaker than John Stockton? And you think John Stockton is at number
playmaker?
10?
Absolutely, yes.
No, hold on. And you think that John Stockton, Lo, is at number 10 on the point guard list?
Yes.
Wow.
Why would he be higher?
Why would he not be higher, bro?
Because the way that you probably let me say not you. Let me just say in general, the way that we generally speaking gauge players is way more beyond just numbers. So why is it when it comes to the point guard list, why are we so hell bent on what the numbers?
I'm not judging. Well, hold on. I mean, ask me, because my argument isn't solely based on John Stockton's numbers. My argument will be based on the efficiency, the way that the Utah Jazz run the offense, led by John Stockton. Right? Nothing fancy, nothing outrageous, basic passes, blah blah blah. Bro, see, here's the thing: you're copying and fucking Joker behind the back passes, flashy passes. To me, bro, basketball is A to B, B to C, C to D. Nothing special. Just pass the ball, score a basket, run the offense, be efficient, do what you do. That's all I ask of my point guard. I don't need no flashy James Harden or no LeBron James or no Joker doing all this, whatever you want to call it, bro. I'm old school. So guys like Mark Jackson,
you can't say you're old school when Magic Johnson was literally a flashy and difficult passer.
I didn't mention
Isaiah Thomas was also, he made flashy and difficult passes. Mark Price also made flashy and difficult passes. You can't say you're old school when there's players that are before Mark Jackson and John Stockton that did those things.
Hold on though. Listen though. I think John Stockton to me is a better all-around passer than Magic. Magic is a better all-around point guard. Magic is a better all-around point guard, right? 6'8", the height, what have you. But pure passing, bro, give me John Stockton every day of the week. Every day.
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because John Stockton had less turnovers, more assists, way more efficient, right? The passes were always there on the money. He did more with less. If you gave John Stockton the crew that Magic had, then what we saying, bro? And guess what? John Stockton did all this shit, bro, with different crews, and him and Carr was always the same system. Never changed it up. High pick and roll on occasions, and then too to be hold on, Lo. To be fair, as they got older, it became more Karl Malone in the post, isolated. I get all that. But, bro, John did all this with less talent. Magic had a crew like no other. And he played with the captain, arguably a top 5 player of all time. Nobody looks at Karl as a top 5 player of all time. And Stockton still did this with less turnovers, ratio, more assists, more efficient. He's shorter in a tough, congested lane. Passes were on point. Again, bro, I'm a highlight, less turnovers. At his size, bro. Listen, John had to be on the money with his passes. Magic didn't. He didn't. Magic Johnson played in a much wide open offense compared to what Utah ran. And again, let me finish, bro, because you make faces.
I'm not saying nothing. I'm letting you finish.
I think you're cooking right now.
I'm letting him finish.
Based on the schemes that both teams ran, the Lakers had a much more wide open offense, right? They did. Now, granted, Utah got out in transition at times. But in the half-court set, bro, you can't tell me that Utah Jazz didn't run a more like congested, like paint presence with that team compared to the Lakers. Now, you're probably going to say, well, they posted up the captain, blah, blah, blah. And I get it. It's give or take. All I'm saying is this, bro. John Stockton did everything he did with a lesser crew. You see who Magic got, right, bro? Worthy, Byron, Vlade. That captain, bro, arguably a top 3, 4, 5 player of all time. Now, again, I think Magic is a better all-around point guard. But pure passing, bro, give me John Stockton, bro.
Where do you have John Stockton as a point guard?
Probably number 3 or 4. I mean, probably 3 or 4.
Over Jason Kidd?
Dub.
Yes, he's over Jason Kidd.
Hold on, Herm. Hey, Dub, bro. All joking aside, bro, all-around point guard, bro, I would take Jason before John. I would. But I think John is definitely in your top, in my top 5, though. He's in my top 5.
What is separating before I attack a lot of the things you just said?
You can't attack nothing, bro. Go ahead.
Why is Stockton ahead of why is Stockton ahead of the players who are right underneath him? Like who's underneath Stockton? Who's that right? Like who? Like I'm assuming Kidd is right underneath him, but who else?
No. What do you? No. Hold on. Low. You're not listening, bro. I got Magic number 1, Isaiah number 2,
okay,
Jason Kidd number 3, John Stockton number 4, right? And then number 5, bro. Again, see, I don't like these hybrid big scoring point guards.
Just say the name.
Okay. Number 5,
Look, Gary Payton.
Nah, not Gary. Nah.
Steve Nash, Chris Paul.
Yeah, I mean, it gotta be like a Nash or a Chris Paul or bro. Listen, I'm big on Kevin Johnson. I'm big on KJ. For me, and he was a scoring point guard, right? 19 for his career, 8, 9 assists per game. So he gave you a total package. So what's your question now? Why is Stockton what now?
What separates Stockton from the players that you have beneath him? Like, what separates Stockton from like Walt Frazier?
I think John Stockton ran team better from that position. I think Walt was more of a scoring point guard. I think Walt was a better rebounder. Walt could pass the ball, but I think if you say just run good old fashioned good NBA offense in winning time, and again you can run it and still not win games. I think John Stockton does that at a higher level. You think Walt Frazier is a better point guard than John Stockton?
He is a 2-time champion.
I think he's a better player.
Situations matter, Herm. I mean, teammates.
Yeah.
Come on.
Even when Willis Reed got hurt, he still led them to the finals.
He still led them to the finals. Yeah.
Okay, so, hold on. Low. If the Utah Jazz and Karl Malone met any other team out east except for those 60-win team Bulls, be honest.
I just said lead to the finals.
But okay. But Utah got their 2 years in a row and they ran to MJ.
I'm not criticizing.
Okay. I got you, man.
I'm criticizing him for having more first-round exits than conference finals appearances. I'm criticizing the dude for having, I'm criticizing the dude for having a losing record in the playoffs, despite the fact that I believe you probably have Karl Malone as a top 5
longevity.
Yeah,
longevity.
you still should have you should still have more. You should
I
have more
agree.
yeah, you should. Okay,
I
so
agree with you, man.
my problem is that when it comes to Stockton and Malone, it seems as if like the standard in which we gauge them, especially Stockton, is completely different and shifted. And I also think that's just a point guard thing. When it comes to point guards, I have no idea why, for whatever reason, it's more about playing style rather than what the actual results were. When it comes to every other position, it doesn't matter. Ray Allen can come off the screens. He can be a shooter. He can do what I guess a traditional shooting guard. And then Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant can be more post players off ball. And then Wade can be a combo guard. And same with Harden. And we can still all gauge them based off of the actual what they actually produce. Same thing with small forwards, power forwards, et cetera, et cetera. The other problem that I have is when it comes to Stockton and in particular playing style, you say high pick and rolls. They do not run high pick and rolls. There's actually interviews with both Carmelo and John Stockton
about that. I said they ran the high pick and roll at times, but then they became more Carmelo isocentric.
What is a high pick and roll? Let me make sure we understand what you're saying. What is a high
you know what? Hold on.
Just say pick and pop, man.
Yeah. My bad, bro. Respectfully, it wasn't so much the high pick and roll like we see today. Utah ran Jerry Sloan ran this weird pick and roll, this pick and pop action with Carl and John, like free throw line extended at an angle.
Okay, free throw line. Okay,
yeah. My bad. My bad. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because you say high pick and roll, I'm thinking
I know.
3-point line. Yeah. No.
Well, I mean,
go ahead. Yes, when they ran that style of pick and roll. However, the problem is that even in the earlier stages of their careers, that still wasn't predominantly the type of offense that they ran. It was predominantly post ups with Carmelo.
They was good in transition though.
They were great. They were great in transition, and also in the half court set they were run pin down screens with shooters coming off of the screens. But it wasn't that many. But it wasn't that many pick and rolls. A majority of his assists that he got was staying at the top of the key, dribbling the air out of the ball, waiting for the play to manifest itself, and he would just make the right reads. That's great. It doesn't take anything away from him. But when it comes to passing, I have just no idea why. Every other aspect of the skill set through basketball, we can look at it through the lens of how'd you do it, when'd you do it, the degree difficulty of you doing it, and then we didn't gauge that. Compare.
Why are we?
He was on a dream team too, though. Low.
Why are we judging a player low? Why are we judging how difficult something is? If I'm this talented, this gifted at my position, and I make it look easy, right? It's about working smart, not harder. So why would that be a factor in this argument for?
Because the way that certain defenses will play you, they'll play you to where they'll work against your weaknesses. So if you can't make difficult passes, then they'll make it to where you won't be able to make those difficult passes. There's a benefit to making a difficult pass because it then makes it even more difficult for the defense to defend passing lanes. So if I'm going out
hurt
there,
John Stockton, hold on, bro, respectfully. So we're gonna knock or bring Stockton down a tier or whatever you want to call it because his passes weren't difficult or Utah's offense wasn't dominated with these tough passing lanes. That don't make sense to me, bro.
Because it became easier to stop them in the postseason because how predictable and rudimentary they were. That's something that not only you can watch them, but it's something that's been talked about from opposing teams and coaches all throughout the 90s. So because they had offenses that were very predictable, and because they had offenses that they knew where the passing lanes were going to be, the opposing team's defenses defended them and schemed them against a way to where they wouldn't make John Stockton at times make difficult passes, and he was not able to do so.
Okay, so watch this in low. Okay, listen. Well, I mean, every point guard,
every point guard, not Magic Johnson.
No, hold on, bro. Again, every point guard is faced in those situations inside their career. So listen, I'm gonna concede that argument. But is it more about John Stockton in those playoff games not making the pass or turnovers, or is it more about him making the right read, making the pass, and the guy catching the ball just didn't finish? Is that fair to say?
I know there's times where Stockton just flat out didn't make the pass.
Well, of course there is. Just like Magic, Mark Jackson, of course there is.
More times than not, though, Stockton he would miss passes or he would not be able to generate quality looks because of his inabilities or because of the offense that was set in place was too predictable for the opposing team to cut off passing lanes that they knew.
Hey, Lo, I got a question for you, Lo.
Hold on, let me what the mask.
So hold on. So are you saying that John Stockton had a high turnover ratio in the postseason?
I didn't say it had a high turnover ratio.
What you saying then? Because you just said that John Stockton did have the passing lanes and teams will cut the passing lanes off. So what? Were these passes getting picked off? Was he just not making the passes? Like, tell me, bro.
Well, if you have a corner, for example, if there's a wide open, the pass I'm supposed to make is a wide open man on the weak side, but I can't make that pass because I'm not that sound of a passer. What I now have to do is make the pass to the guy at the top of the key, so he can then swing the ball to someone else, so he can then swing it to the guy who's wide open.
The hockey pass.
By that time, the defense has already shifted back, and now the open man that was open is no longer there. Whereas someone like Magic Johnson could just make that pass from one side to the next, and then now you still have the advantage that was created from what you tried to generate in the first place.
Okay, cool. So just real quick, Herm. Magic Johnson was fortunate to play with a loaded crew, right?
Okay.
Let me finish real quick, Lo. A loaded crew.
I'm gonna respond to what you're saying, but
well, I mean, you don't know what I'm to say yet. Hold on, bro. I think Magic Johnson played with a loaded crew, right? Respectfully. And so is it fair to say if you gave Magic Johnson, if he didn't have the captain, James Worthy, or let's say he only had the captain along with a bunch of role players like John Stockton had, do you think that teams would defend them a little bit differently and these so-called, passing lanes would shrink or these turnovers would happen for Magic?
No, I think they would still defend. They would have to defend Magic differently because he can just a better passer. Part of the even when Kareem and them retired and they weren't on the team anymore, and the team got noticeably worse around. The supporting cast members got noticeably worse around the Lakers. That's actually when you start to see even more of Magic Johnson's ability to make proper passes, especially in the half court, because he had to be more of a primary scorer in the half court.
What year was this?
88 to 91.
Man, man, kill him with the
who was in those years, bro. I mean, he still had a very respectful team with guys who can get it.
Do you think they were as good? John had? When? Who? You think James Worthy is as good as Karl Malone?
No. I said team, bro. I just mentioned one guy. I'm going
to go down the list of players. Do you think John Stockton? You think Karl Malone is good? You think James Worthy is good as Karl Malone?
No, I think Karl's better.
Do you think Byron Scott? Say it again.
All he's saying is that James is capable of getting his own bucket.
So is Karl Malone.
No. Magic had a better collective unit, though.
Yeah, Low.
He's not comparing Worthy to Karl. He's just comparing that.
Right. I know, but okay. But the point I'm making is that the players that you're talking about, once they got older and not as impactful and even retired, it's not like Magic Johnson's ability as a passer deteriorated. If anything, it got better. So between 88 to 91, John Stockton
got smarter and he got better as he got older. And in 18, 19, he was still passing the ball at a very high level.
I didn't say what. What I'm saying is the argument of supporting cast being better. A lot of players that you're highlighting were no longer on the team, and Magic Johnson was still able to be.
That's why I mentioned what year you're talking about.
That's what I said. 88 to 91. When Kareem was getting older, he was deteriorating.
James Worthy was solid though.
I never said he wasn't solid, but again, we're comparing.
He didn't say that,
but the point I'm making that is that even with a lot of those high caliber players that you're talking about, when they were no longer on the team, it's not like we saw a regression in Magic Johnson passing. If anything, you saw it get better once those players were not there, because he had to be a better passer and playmaker to generate quality looks, because there were other players who normally generated quality looks for his teamates. They were no longer there. So even when Kareem, no, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Yes, it does. Yes,
no,
it
because
but man,
well, let me say this real quick. It's time progressing in the late 90s. The team became more Karl Malone centric, and that's actually when they started to see more improvements in their offense and saw more success.
Funny how they won 60 games. They started winning 60+ games after 96. Utah,
because they became more Karl
because of John and Karl. Because of John and
you
Karl.
can say it can be both, but I'm saying
it's John and Karl.
I didn't say, but they became more Karl Malone centric.
Whoa, Low. They had to, because they're getting older, legs are getting more heavier. So of course, like I said, they featured Karl more on the block with him just going one-on-one. But John was still running the action.
I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm saying that the impact of Stockton as a passer regressed, and somehow the team got better. In particular, offensively, they got better, and their success got better as well. So that is further proof that they did not have to depend on him. So even when Stockton became a worse passer or less impactful of a passer, they still saw more success. Whereas Magic still made finals appearances, still made deep postseason runs, still was leading into the number one ranked offense, even when Michael Cooper was no longer on the team, Nixon was gone, Jamal Woods was gone, Kareem was gone, all of them were gone.
And guess what happened? He ran to MJ, lost in 5. John ran to MJ and Karl and lost in 6 both years.
Well, that's what my point is.
Things happen. I know.
My point is that one was so impactful that he was a back-to-back MVP, finished top 3 and an MVP for like four straight years,
won MVP
and led. But we're comparing We're comparing Magic to Stockton, the difference of impact. So one player won back-to-back MVPs, finished top 3 in the MVP for 4 straight years, and led number 1 ranked offenses.
Oh, listen, low. Magic, hey, fellas, Magic Johnson is the best point guard of all time. I'm not arguing that, bro. I'm saying, bro, you could be a better player and not be better than a player in one specific facet of the game. We know that. That's what I'm saying.
I do want to ask this question because I do think this is a good question to have for the super chat. Magic versus Stockton, and we'll go around the room real quick, and then you guys could debate it afterwards. Okay. Magic versus Stockton in these passing categories. Accuracy. We'll go around the room, starting with low.
Am I gauging on 1 to 10, or who's better at the 1 or the 2?
Who's better?
Stockton.
And if if it's close, you can say it's close. And then
I think it's close, but whatever. Stockton.
Okay, go ahead. Mass.
Stockton.
Herm.
Stockton.
Joe.
Magic.
Word. Creativity.
Magic.
Decision making. I mean manipulation.
Magic is for the rest of them. For me, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to give Stockton the first one, because I was gonna give Magic the rest of them.
Magic is the rest of them.
Does everyone agree that Magic has the rest?
Yeah.
Decision maker. I
got John, but manipulation and speed and strength. Obviously, Magic is bigger. I mean, duh. So
it's
Magic.
It's
Magic Johnson. Yeah, but that doesn't give him the better pass. I mean, listen, that's a great list. I get it, and that's a great way to look at it. But I mean, come on, guys. I mean, Low has John Stockton at number 10
as a point guard.
But man, it's the reason why John Stockton is the all-time leader in assists and steals. It's a reason for that. He's not no slouch, and Low got to understand that it's a reason why. And you got to think about the only guy he had legitly was Karl Malone. Byron Russell, Jeff Hornacek, Greg Ostertag, those guys not elite, but he still was getting it done with those guys, regardless. So John Stockton is the top 5 point guard of all time. And Low, I'm gonna ask you this question: will anybody in the NBA history will ever catch John Stockton his all-time assist record and his all-time steals record? Because he was elite on both ends, not on just one end.
Let me address the first part. Majority of Stockton's assists were not recorded when he was playing with the lineups that he was referring to. Majority of Stockton's assists were recorded when he was playing with Thurl Bailey, Dale Griffith, Jeff Malone, and Karl Malone in the late 80s or early 90s. The reason why I highlight that because those players that I just highlighted are players who had the ability to score before Stockton was there, before Stockton was in his prime. They were constant 15 to 20 point scorers with or without Stockton. So it's very important to highlight that the players that you're saying they weren't all that talented. No, the players that were surrounding Stockton for most of his best assists averaging years were players that you could very well argue not that many teams in the NBA had that many tough shot makers on their roster. So
we never said that the guys weren't talented. We said that
no. He literally just tried. He tried to downplay them by highlighting just the late 90s roster.
I'm not saying that. Yeah, I mean, Utah had talent.
Yeah, they had, without a doubt, they were easily one of the most talented. So the answer is, anybody going to catch him? No, but the reason why nobody's going to catch him is because they have more. Well, I don't think that many players are going to be able to play as long as Stockton did. And being more importantly, most players, especially offensive weapons, are going to be held with more responsibility offensively than just being a passer at the top of the key. That's why.
Okay, can I switch the topic? I'm kind of bored of this. I'm not gonna
lie. What's that?
Wow, that's crazy. He just let his nuts drag. But go ahead.
No.
Wow, dub.
That's how we coming. You feel me?
I got a series of questions. It's not really got beef with them, but I got a series of questions.
Hey.
Number 1, do you consider Jamal Murray a quality shot creator?
Say it again. Quality what?
Shot creator.
I think he's okay. I think he's a positive. I don't know what realm are you trying to compare him to.
No. I'm not hyping up Jamal Murray. Don't worry. Do you? So earlier you were talking about how no one can exploit Nikola Jokic. Not no one, but he hasn't played anyone to exploit his deficiencies defensively, right? So
in my opinion,
so I was thinking, like, does that make him a better player than other players just because he hasn't ran into anyone who could exploit those deficiencies?
No, because I don't think that those deficiencies are gone. I just don't think that he hasn't faced anybody who could exploit them. That's all.
That's what, because I was arguing with someone earlier. Like, they're like, "Oh, Jokic clears Giannis because of Giannis's inability to create in the half court." But I feel like I was hoping you said Jamal Murray, because Giannis ever played with a quality shot creator? outside of 21 Middleton?
I guess Middleton, yeah, to some degree. I think, to be honest with you, I think Middleton and Jamal Murray as shot creators are not that far from one another. I would still say Murray, but they're not. I don't think they're that far.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I think Chris is better.
Middleton been with Giannis for years, so like it's kind of weird to be like, oh, who else did he play with? Middleton went
and Drew Holiday.
No. I was just asking, do you consider Middleton a quality shot creator?
Drew Holiday can create a shot too.
Not in the playoffs. I'm sorry.
In the playoffs, it falls off.
Playoffs, it gets pretty
Drew
nasty.
Holiday ain't consistent with it though. Drew Holiday ain't consistent.
It gets pretty nasty.
Makes or misses, yeah, but can he create a shot? Of course he can. It's crazy.
Well, MPJ can create his own. I mean, yeah, okay, yeah, I guess he can. He can. But I just don't. Wait, what is that? Was that the question you'd ask?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because I thought I felt like outside of 2021, Chris Middleton has never really been like a quarterly, like a guy who like if he's been like ass. I'm sorry, like he's mid. He's mid. If you consider Jamal Murray mid too, then
Chris ain't mid, bro. Chris ain't mid.
Now Jamal Murray is a difference maker because at the end of the day, people gotta understand as great as Jokic is, you still need a guy. You still need a guy like Jamal Murray to close out the deal. Most of the time when they're closing out a game, you rarely run it through your big man. We rarely see centers close out games like this. So Jamal Murray is needed for that. That's why he's there.
How is Chris Middleton mid though? When the Bucks at one point
he wasn't mid.
At one point, the Bucks relied on Chris on the high pick and roll with Giannis to come off that high pick and roll and hit mid-range jump shots to win games.
Inconsistent. That's
he's just inconsistent. That's all.
Well, that's different then. I mean,
so how is Jamal Murray and Middleton on like close?
That's what I was confused.
I think if Chris Middleton, I think if Jamal Murray was on a roster with an offensively incompetent Giannis or who has deficiencies like Giannis, I don't think he would be getting his quality looks. So when Jamal Murray comes off a dribble handoff, the opposing team literally, and I do mean literally, cannot sag off or help off of Jokic. Whereas when it comes to Giannis, you can definitely sag off, roam around a little bit more for Giannis, and even when he does drive, like there's just so many more things that you can do against him that makes it a bit more difficult for everyone else. Whereas Jokic, you have to just defend him much more differently. He's getting way more defensive attention, even in a half-court set, that can give much more quality looks for everyone else. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's fair.
Cool. Joe, do you have any beef with Lowe?
Nah, I'm about to. I know you only want people got beef with him. I'm out.
Yo, Jesus, dog. Golly, dog, man. But not her, Matt. So my only gripe is that it seems like with the point guard position, I just don't get it. In my opinion, is that the way that we grade these point guards or rank these point guards is drastically different from everyone else, because when it comes to everyone else, it's all about what did you accomplish, how good you were you the best player on your team. Like these are all things that we tend to hold to every other position, but then when we specifically talk about point guards, it's only about who they were from a skill set standpoint.
Well, I think that position. Well, but listen, but I think that position in itself. I mean, listen, the point guard is viewed as the quarterback. You know, they're viewed as a pitcher in baseball. And so, like more times than not, they're the extension of the coach, right? I mean, that's what they say, extension of the coach.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are viewed differently. And fair or unfair, bro. And again, it's not fair, but you're right. They are judged differently. I'm not sure.
Hey, below, I got a question, man. If we judge out the criteria, it's everybody else. Then for us, that we judge everybody else. What's your top 10 point guards if we judge it off how we normally judge everyone else? Then.
I mean, I'll go find the list I was just looking at, but I mean, it would be like Magic, Curry,
Zeke,
Oscar Robertson, I think Jerry West is a point guard as well.
Jason Kidd.
I think Kidd is highly underrated. I think Kidd is hands down top 3 or 4 point guard of all time. Hands down.
Magic, Curry.
I'm surprised y'all not naming Gary Payton, man. That kind of surprised.
I'm looking at my top 10 list right now. Magic, Curry, Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Isaiah Thomas, Chris Paul, Nash, Kidd, GP, Walt Frazier, John Stockton.
Where's Westbrook?
Oh, you know it's a crazy. I go back and forth about Westbrook. I don't mind.
I'm gonna be honest.
What are we doing here?
I think Chris Paul. I think Chris Paul should drop lower. Actually,
where's Mark Jackson?
No. Stop.
Mark
Wow.
Jackson
Mark
no, Mark Jackson's not better than Stockton. Not at all.
No. I didn't say Stockton. Just somewhere in that top 10 list as a point guard. I think Mark Jackson's up there.
I think there's too many guards for him to be there.
There's way too many.
Bro, why is Westbrook? Why are you even thinking about Westbrook? He's the 6th greatest point guard we've ever seen. He's the 6th greatest point guard in that position.
Okay.
Yes, Nick, he's better than Stockton.
You rather have Jason Kidd?
Westbrook is not better than Stockton, man.
Yes, he
Now
is.
that's a
He's
point
better on
guard.
offense.
No,
He's
he's
better
not.
You rather have Jason Kidd or Westbrook?
Jason Kidd.
Bro, Westbrook could have took those same 2000 Knicks to the
I-
finals.
Hell no.
You already know that's not how I view basketball. So let's ask the question again. Who would you rather have, Jason Kidd or Westbrook?
Westbrook, easy. What are we
You're
doing?
you're
Westbrook or
I think you got to put him in timeout, Dub, for like 3 minutes,
The
Dub. I think you got to go
offensive
timeout for like
back
3 minutes.
The
Man.
Yeah,
offensive
I think you're tripping. I think
No, you're tripping. The offensive gap is massive. Jason Kidd was
Russ got hard, bro, but he's not better than no damn Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
I don't mind putting Westbrook over Stockton. I don't even mind having Stockton outside my top 10.
We packing Stockton
The
up.
game's
out here.
played
He's
more than
better
just
than-
offense, man.
he's
Offense
better
and
than
defense, decision making, turnovers. Like
Yeah,
That's
it's
because
a,
he's
better.
aggressive, but
Jason
he's
Kidd's
also
better.
creating
Trust
way
me.
more shots than Kidd. He's
no,
creating way
he's
more
not.
shots than
No,
Stockton.
he's not.
Yes, he
Quality
is.
shots. No, he's not.
Yes,
No,
he
he's not.
is.
No, he's
He's
not.
driving, get it in the lane.
Jason
Jump off
Kidd,
the
better
What
alley.
about CP3 though?
Better
CP3.
defense, better decision
no,
making.
I got CP3. I got CP3 and Nash over all of those.
I got Garrett
What about
Payton
no
over
layups?
Nash and CP3, though. I got Garrett Payton over them, too.
Well, why didn't you mention Kevin Johnson, Lo, in that list?
Jesus.
You didn't mention Garrett Payton?
Come on, bro.
I
You
did.
mentioned
I did
Kevin
say.
Johnson, bro?
I said GP right after Jason Kidd.
How'd you mention
Oh,
Rondo?
okay,
and you guys didn't-
bet. I was just
not
making
mention
sure.
Kevin
I didn't say
Johnson?
Rondo. I didn't say Rondo either.
You said Nash?
I said. I'll say it again. Magic, Magic, Curry, West, Oscar Robertson, Isaiah Thomas, Chris Paul, Nash, Kidd, GP, Walt Frazier, Stockton.
So how'd you mention Nash and CP3 without mentioning Kevin Johnson?
He's better.
Yeah.
Bro, what?
Why is Kevin? I don't think Kevin Johnson did it long enough. If Kevin
They were
Johnson did,
MVP caliber players.
if Kevin Johnson had did it longer than what he was doing, then we had different conversations. But Kevin Johnson's like a 5-year stretch.
He was never that good. He was never an MVP caliber player. What are we doing here?
That
Stop
is also
trolling,
true.
bro. Stop trolling.
What do?
Hey, you
ain't gotta be no.
You look too young to
listen,
understand
man,
what
I'm gonna respect the panel. I'm gonna
going
respect the panel and talk to Low and Dub and Herman stuff because it's cool, bro. But to say that Kevin Johnson wasn't even that good,
If you gotta say something, Mr.
was
Bass,
as good as
if you
Chris Paul.
gotta say something, just mind the language. But if you do have to say something, I'm
you
all
don't
in.
know
was good as
basketball,
Chris
bro.
Paul.
He don't know his history of basketball, man. That's all, man.
Bro,
Y'all argue that Kevin Johnson was ever a top 5 player in the NBA. What are we doing here?
When
bro?
was Chris Paul?
Russ never been a top 5 player in the NBA. What you talking
Chris Paul was a top 5 player.
What year, Lo?
In the early
Westbrook
2010s. In the early
Hold
2010s.
on, Lo. Dude in the left hand corner, like with the what year was this? You tell us.
What year was what?
Chris Paul, top 5 player in the NBA.
I mean, you want to go from 08 to goddamn? You can go from
Oh,
08.
You out your damn mind. You going for 08.
08?
You out your damn mind, man.
08 was not
Hey,
hard.
Hey, Lo, look at the
would
top
he-
5 players in 08, Lo. Look at the
He
top
would,
5
he,
players.
he
in
would
08.
be. He literally finished second in MVP race. Why would he not be top 5?
And that makes you top 5, Lo, because you finished second MVP race.
Who was
But
better
even-
than
even-
him?
I mean, what was Isaiah Thomas top 3 in MVP
I don't think Isaiah Thomas ever finished top 3.
from the Boston Celtics?
Oh, I thought you meant Zeke. I thought you meant Zeke. I was like,
Bro, you're a
No, I'm
troll.
talking about the other Isaiah. Was he top 3 in MVP voting that year that he had the Boston? When he averaged 20.
you could argue that in that 1 year, Isaiah Thomas was like a top 5, top 7 player. You actually could argue that.
Yeah, but would we consider him a top 5 player in the game despite of that great year he had in Boston? Hell no.
For that year, for
for
1 year, bro, between 2008 to 2015, I don't
All right,
understand
so-
why Chris Paul would not be a top 5.
I got one more
player.
question, and then I'm gonna go, fellas.
All right, go.
Last question, fellas. And again, hey, Dub and Low, man, I respect you guys. Thanks for letting me come up here. And my guy Herm. Peak Tony Parker or peak CP3. Who you taking?
Oh,
my
okay.
God.
Ooh, that's tough.
CP3. No, it's not.
Okay, no,
It's not
I'm
tough.
just asking. Listen, I'm just asking.
Oh, it's CP3. It's not even close. It's not even close. It's not
It's
even
CP3.
It's not even close.
CP3.
Okay.
I'm going with
CP3.
I ain't gonna lie,
All those
man.
failures.
I'm finna go out.
all those failures, lack of decision making, turnovers.
Getting hurt all the time.
That would also be That would also
Doing
be
3-1 leads
Tony
to my
Parker. That would
Rockets.
also be
Hey,
Tony
below.
Parker. That was also Tony Parker. That was
Hey,
also
below.
Tony
I
Parker.
trust Tony Parker more than CP3.
I don't
If
know
it comes down
why.
to the
I
game on
trust
the
Tony
line,
Parker more than CP3, bro.
Why?
if the
Why?
game is on the
All right.
line, I'm rolling with
Thanks. Have a
Tony
good game, bro.
Parker, man.
Thanks, sir.
Why?
Peace, bro. You be safe, brother.
Why? When even Popovich didn't trust him, he was taking him out of games. They were starting George Hill in playoff game with Tony Parker because he didn't trust him.
Hey, Lo, you remember we kind of argued with somebody when I had to remind somebody that Tony Parker from for 2012 to 14 was an all NBA caliber player, and he was playing great basketball at the time.
Chris Paul was an MVP caliber player from 08 to 2013.
2016.
But Tony Parker was competing for championships. Chris Paul always
on a better team because he was on a better team.
He was always losing in the second round.
Because he was on a better team.
I mean, but we can't. We gotta understand CP3 and them. They underachieved with the Clippers.
They
underachieved with the Clippers.
No, that's fine. You could argue.
They had all the talent
and you can also argue once Tim Duncan went out of his prime. And it was asked of Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili to start carrying it as Duncan started to decline. They also underachieved because between 2008 to 2013, they were not making any final runs. They were getting knocked out in the first round. That was actually the least.
They were losing the ACs. You're right.
Yes,
you're right.
That was the least successful stretch of the Spurs dynasty. Once Duncan started to decline, they were asking more of Tony Parker to carry. So if you want to make that argument, while on a better roster, a better coach, a more cohesive unit, Tony Parker was also extremely underwhelming when he was asked to carry the offense or or be more offensively leaning or be more responsible for the team's success.
Is it fair to say that we could kind of put those two in the same category then?
No, they're nowhere near close. They're not in the same.
Hey, at least Tony Parker was in finals appearances though.
Yeah,
you know
because he was on a better roster. Because he was on a better roster.
How many finals appearances TP have? Because Chris Paul got
4.
He got 4.
I mean, Chris Paul got what? 3. Tony Parker got 3 championships, right?
He played with
I mean, you have Tim Duncan next year.
and Manu Ginobili.
Yeah, but Tim Duncan really wasn't the same player after the 2007 finals.
And they didn't go back again until Kawhi started to emerge. That's proving the point. The fact, as soon as Tim Duncan started to decline, they didn't make it back until Kawhi got there and he started to be the wing presence that they needed. That's proving the point.
Tony wasn't even better than Manu most of those years.
I was about to say, we're going to be honest with ourselves. Manu was actually the better player for some of those years. If we're going to be
most of those years into the 2010s. Why are we trying?
But now I'm gonna be real though. You know, I just be disappointed in Chris Paul, to be honest. But we know Chris Paul's a better overall player than Tony Parker. Unfortunately, he had a lot of bad luck in his career. That's the story of Chris Paul. When we look back at Chris Paul's career, he just had a story of bad luck. But when you look at overall player, yes, Chris Paul's a better overall player than Tony Parker. But he underachieved some as well, whether it was due to him getting hurt or whether he didn't come through in crucial situations. We've seen Tony Parker in situations where he came through. Yes, he underachieved as well because he was supposed to be next up and he was supposed to be carrying when Tony Parker fell off. But at the same time, Chris Paul, he had a lot of letdown situations as well, though. So that's why I say, hindsight, you could kind of put them in the same category. But
the teams are gas.
You put them in the same category because Chris Paul lost?
No, they're not in the same category. They're not even remotely close. Not even remotely close.
AJ, talk to me real quick. I seen you had beef with Low, and then Layups got beef with Low as well.
There's no beef.
Alright,
y'all agree with me, bro. Jesus.
No, I don't.
Nah.
Go
I
ahead,
saw him on the Spaces on Twitter talking about analytics. So I wanted to ask him about, does he really think like LeBron, Raptor, those type of analytics, or are you talking about just like true shooting, things like that? What type of analytics you were talking about?
The point that I was making is that I think it is very the push for against advanced analytics is a very weird one because it's just information that you can use regardless of the level of importance you place on it. Can be all dependent on one person to the next, but to completely ignore new information, I think, is the definition of stupidity, especially when it's available to you.
Yeah, but with the advanced analytics like LeBron and those ones, those more complicated ones, aren't they just putting in their biases for the game within those formulas they use to bring like basically like the number for whatever they're going to rank the player on. So, for example, if they're going to talk about defense, like this year, they had Jokic really high defensively on
Let me
those
speak on that.
Raptor, BPM, all those type of defensive metrics. They had him higher than a lot of defenders that we would see as better than him, like Bam Adebayo, players like that.
Let me
So, what
answer
would you
that,
say
Lo.
about that?
Yeah.
Let me answer that. The reason for that is because those stats, you should never use those analytics for defense. You'll never be able to quantify accurately individual defense consistently like defense. But the reason Jokic ranked so high is because the steals and they really value. So it's kind of very skewed with Jokic, and a lot of people get a lot of defense.
Low.
That's what I'm
Am I
saying, though.
lagging?
Yeah,
Am I
yeah.
lagging or is it layups?
It's
Oh,
you.
I'm
It's
sorry.
you.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was Can y'all hear me now?
I hear you now.
You was
Oh,
I
lagging
don't know.
OD.
The reason for that, and you should never use defensive like analytics like that, is because they massively value rebounding. So like Jokic rebounder gonna look gassed up there.
Yeah, it's still bad. It's still bad. Look,
Still bad.
what
It's still
what
bad.
basically what he's saying is that there's no metrics to give an accurate depiction of defense, because a lot of the times when it comes to defense, it's just depending on who you're matching up with and also what they're calculating. So if you have a lot of defensive rebounds or you have a lot of steals and blocks, those are the defensive accolades that they're going, the defensive metrics that they're using to kind of put the variables into the equation to figure out what the Raptor and all those other things are. But as we all know, like just because you got a steal, that doesn't mean that you were more valuable than the person who probably pressured the ball handler that resulted in a steal, right? So there's too many
Yeah,
other
that's
ways to
based on
determine
point,
it.
though.
But I've said
That's
this
my point
several
with
times as
the.
well. I've said this several times where there's no. I've also said this as well. There's no defensive. I don't think there is a metric that gives an accurate representation of defense. I just don't think there
Yeah,
is.
only use it for offense, never defense.
Do you think the same issues come up with offense though, to a lesser degree though? Like for example, I was seeing some of the stats on Sabonis. They don't make sense for him, especially because I can see that it's clearly looking at him as a hub offensively and giving him value that his teammates are creating. Because you could see like he's not that level of offensive player, but his stats are really high with those offensive advanced analytics. Have you seen that, or what do you think?
Yeah.
If you have the
Again,
ball in your hand, it's
that
gas.
not only that, but more importantly, again, I think that everything, like I said before, is just all context for the level of importance you put into it. I'm just saying. So, long story short, no, I don't put that much importance to like LeBron and Raptor and all those other things. But and even Vorp, like I don't put that much importance to it. The premise of the space was ignoring it and just going off of eye test or how you feel about a game. To me, is worse than it just not taking in any type of I think
But
it's
why?
worse than the other way
That's what I'm
around
saying. Like
because
when
I think
we watch the
because I
game, we can
think
give it the context, but the stats you can't
yeah,
really.
but
You can't give it the context that
many
you
people
present.
admittedly don't, not admittedly, many people honestly don't watch basketball. And the people who claim that they watch it or they do watch it, they will look for certain things that is more appealing to them. So they don't look at it through an objective lens. They just look at it through what do I favor. It's the reason why we can go this deep into LeBron's career and people still question if he's quote unquote clutch. It's the reason why we can get this deep into Kevin Durant's career, Kyrie career, and I still have to explain to people how they struggle in the postseason, and people will just act as if like that's not the thing because they have a huge bag. It's the reason why people will make arguments that the Phoenix Suns are supposed to win because they put so much credence in who Kevin Durant was as an offensive player instead of acknowledging Jokic is a noticeably better offensive player than KD. So it's all based. It's all a combination of everything. However, there are metrics that will be more reliant and dependent and giving you a much more sound conclusion to who would actually win and who's better than your potential bias through a lens of your eye test lens.
So the metrics don't have bias baked in. I think the metrics have bias baked in basically based on who created those metrics. All the metrics have, for example, they'll have slight differences in who they rate better defensively or offensively, things like that. So basically, that's why I was against the X for me personally. But
Question.
I just want
Where's the beef?
That's
It doesn't seem like there is
one.
Seems like there's no beef, man.
But look. Let me just talk about Jokic for a second.
Seems like there's no
You
beef,
said
dog.
defensively, you said Jokic. This playoffs, he hasn't been really like tested like that. And you said your spaces earlier that you thought he was a slight positive defender. So how do you see that he's a slight positive defender if you don't think he's been really tested defensively? this
same
playoffs?
way. The same way that the same way I would think anybody's a slight positive without having to be tested. You don't have to be tested to determine how much of a defender you are or not, especially to the degree in which I would assume you have to be tested, because most players in those situations would fail miserably anyway. But in terms of like what people thought he would do, like just being able to just aid the process of on LeBron drives or their body Anthony Davis, or still being able to be a positive defender against like I think Curry is a positive defender, but I know for a fact if he got really tested and he was put in front of like a bigger player, when they would switch Curry onto LeBron in a Lakers series, and Curry would just get torched. He would just he would get terrible positioning. LeBron would get whatever he wanted. He would get to the free throw line, but that doesn't mean that he is a bad defender just because he went up against an unfavorable matchup. It's not what that means. It just he's still an overall positive defender, but when you go up against specific matchups, we're going to figure out how much you're giving up. But that doesn't mean that you can't be a slight positive.
What if he gives up? What if he gives up more than average?
Say it again. Wait, two people. Just say it again. Say what you said again.
Go ahead. You talking me or him?
What if he?
No, him.
Basically, I'm saying, what if he gives up, defensively, when he has a bad matchup, he gives up more than the average defender would give up. How would you see it there? Because
well, then for example, that would be the definition of a negative defender.
Yeah.
Then how does Jokic not fall into that?
Yeah.
How do we know what he would give up more or less of? Like, for example, if they match up against Curry, I think Jokic would get torched the same way that Embiid would get torched, the same way that I think like 99% of bigs would get torched.
But you think it would be the same between
yes, I think it would be the same. I think Embiid will get torched. Yes. Yep. I think that many of y'all don't actually watch. I don't, because I watch Embiid and he's a lazy defender in pick and roll. If you actually watched him, even against Tatum, if you watch him against Tatum in the last two games of the series, he was getting torched. If y'all watch it, and this is the reason why, this is the reason why you would use the numbers, because even the numbers prove this as well. Every time Embiid goes up against Curry, and these are not even high leverage games, he gets torched. But even if you just watched him against Tatum in Game 7, he got torched. He was not closing out. He was being lazy. He did not step out on the three. Tatum was just walking into threes. But
Joel plays like a fat man a lot of the time.
But again, this is why if you look at the numbers, it would back it up. But these are all things that you could also see, and for whatever reason, you're asking me why right now, even though it just happened 6 games ago. It just happened 6 games ago.
Yes,
you're still asking me why right now.
You're bringing up one game right now. You're talking about game.
But
7
Tatum is now on the same offensive level as Steph Curry. He's now on the same level as Donovan Mitchell was when he was in the postseason in the bubble going crazy. So the problem is that Jokic in the Western Conference for a good portion of his career has had to match up against some of the greatest ball handlers, shot creators, offensive guards that the league has ever seen. That's who's been torching him. Dame, Curry, Chris Paul, Donovan Mitchell, when he gets going, that's who he's had to get defended against. That's who he had to defend, and that's also who he's been torching. Embiid has had the privilege. He's had the privilege to not have to deal with that. And even at times when he does have to deal with it, you can noticeably see if he was going up against someone like a Curry or a Dame, he would also get torched.
Based off this year, and I know, and I agree with.
No, wait. I'm sorry. Whale said Embiid helped the Celtics to 37% in the paint before the last couple of games. Lowest chatting, you idiot. I'm not talking about the paint, you numbskull. I'm talking about when somebody is a ball handler and they're stretching the defense out all the way to the 3-point line, and you as a big have to make the decision if you're going to stop, go out in the three, meet them at the level and defend them out there, or be able to just still recover and defend. The same thing that Anthony Davis has to do. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about him just sagging in the paint, just waiting for somebody to drive. I'm talking about him defending the entire floor the same way that Curry would make Jokic defend the entire floor. The same way that Damian Lillard would force Jokic to defend the entire floor. The same way that Donovan Mitchell would make Jokic defend out in space in the entire floor.
Pull up to the StreamYard link, Wall.
You idiot.
My question is
I didn't I want to butt in on y'all debate, but I didn't agree with the point you said that like Steph Curry numbers even show that he's a solid average defender. I think when teams literally scheme to pick you out in the ISOs to put you in an attacking situation. He's not a good defender.
That's what he said.
Yeah,
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I was gonna ask that too because like with some deficiencies like this year, I agree that Jokic is an improved defender, and also I think like this offseason the Nuggets kind of like surrounding some perimeter defenders, so it doesn't so that you don't attack the rim as easily, so Jokic don't be exposed as a rim protector as much. So my question to you is like, do you worry about like, let's say the Celtics somehow get past Miami, even though I don't think they will, and Jason Tatum and them get that rim pressure? Do you think his defense can possibly the rim protector be exposed, or in the pick and roll be exposed because of their switchability and how much offense the Celtics got, and with the defense? And do you think rebounding is? Do you think rebounding can make you a better offense or defensive player, like rebounding? So like you secure rebounding, that makes your whole defensive. Like let's say I can't lock you up, but I get the rebound. Does that make you a better defensive player?
No.
I think
Overrated.
defense is a part of I think rebounding is a part of defense. I don't think it's that as significant as other people trying to make it out to be.
Okay, so when you was talking about Jokic defense in the panel, would you imply his rebounding as well to help him on his defensive end or not?
I think he's moves his feet way better than he did 2 or 3 years ago. I think he's way better with his hands than he was 2 or 3 years ago. I think even as a deterrent, and also just being more intelligent and knowing when to, because there would be times where Jokic would just run at the top of the key when it wasn't necessary, or he wouldn't recover in time. Like I think he's just much more sound and aware defensively than he was 2 or 3 years ago. I think he's just improving those regards.
No, my question for you is, man, are you that psychotic to prove yourself right that you win against your own team for Jokic? Because you're a Lakers fan.
Yeah, I don't think that's psychotic. I'm unbiased.
I mean, but you got to be a fan of your team at some point.
I was upset when we got swept. I don't know what to say. I was upset, but I also knew what was about to happen because I was saying before the playoffs even began, there was Laker fans yelling, "We want Jokic." I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
No.
You don't.
So you don't think the Lakers did a good job exploiting the defense, or do you think thought the Lakers was never that great of an offensive team in general?
I think LeBron wasn't healthy. If LeBron was healthy, then we might have a different conversation because he would be able to get downhill on Jokic quite a bit. But also the other thing about like, say it again.
Y'all was still probably lost though.
I think we still lost, yes, but I think the exploiting of Jokic would have also been seen. But also the other thing that I stated before is that if Jokic gets exploited by LeBron, and I said this in the last stream before we had to go, if Jokic gets exploited by LeBron, Dame, Curry, Donovan Mitchell when he gets going, Chris Paul, those are like literally some of the greatest offensive players in the NBA.
That's weird though, Lo, because that's who he's gonna be seeing.
Yeah,
like all the majority. This is the one season where it don't happen. Like majority times in the playoffs, those are the caliber guys which you're seeing. So if there's a liability out there like that, it's kind of hard to put stock.
No, it's always going to be a liability. But here's the thing: we knew that Anthony Davis was going to have to see Jokic, and he got torched. Does that put into question to you Anthony Davis' defense?
No.
I was one of the main people that said that AD wasn't going to lock up Jokic. I thought,
but that's my point. That if you see a precipitous fall in your defensive impact, that's a huge word, precipitous. Oh my god! If you see a precipitous fall in your defensive impact because specific matchups, I don't necessarily know if you're an egregiously bad defender at that point.
But Lo, when it's a lot of matchups where that is a liability that can't get taken advantage of. That's where it's a problem, because right now where the West, the weakest offense hasn't been great for the West's offense at all. Sure. Mm-hmm. So like if he's going up, Portland Trailblazers, Damian Lillard, like that's not even a team that's contending for a title. Yeah, that's a mid-tier playoff caliber team right there. Those guys have those guys that could take advantage of Jokic's defense. That's an issue. That's not even a contending team. You see my point with that, Lo?
And that's fair, but I think that more so is the give or take of the era that Jokic plays in, because he plays in an era where there are so many shot creators and 3-point shooters and extremely high offensive players, which has then forced the league to become much more smaller and switchable, which then has allowed Jokic to benefit immensely from the smaller switchable era as well. But he as well, though. That's what I'm agreeing. I'm saying he also benefits from it as well, but because it's just a detriment. I mean, it's the same concept of like Jordan. Like Jordan, quiet as kept. Jordan benefited from the fact that the league was already going into a more big man oriented league that was going to be slower, defensive oriented, low post. So when it came to his matchups, it's not like he had matchups that were iconic as Hakeem, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal, Alonzo Mourning, Dikembe, but he didn't have to go up against those. On the perimeter. Yes, he's also a product of the era in which he played in. Now, when he does go up against Joe Dumars and the Detroit Pistons, who are more switchable, more defensive oriented, he's going to have to face. He's going to see a drop. But does that mean that we're going to question because against the specific matchup he goes against that they match up more favorably for him? That we're going to question who he is as an offensive player?
No. I hear your point with that with Michael Jordan. The main thing is the defense being a liability, and that's the issue. Where even though Michael Jordan go up against those guys, there's no liability really in his game like that.
I think he's more okay. He's more well.
But can't you say the same thing?
Yeah,
for
Jokic is not about Jokic. It's not about the offense. Like I'm not even questioning Jokic's offense. I don't think
about his matchups.
It's how bad his defense can be that can limit his to succeed.
Who is his really elite matchup that's on his level? It's really just one guy.
But do you think
Joel Embiid?
I mean, who else you gonna say? Rudy Gobert?
Oh, he was cooking Joel Embiid. Rudy Gobert's actually been more successful defending him than Embiid.
But that's my point. I'm just saying, like how we talk about Jordan matchups or who he had. I think Jokic is going through the same thing with his matchups. He really don't have nobody else.
No, I agree.
So what does it say about Jokic? Like, what are y'all trying to say about Jokic with the defense?
Nothing. He's dominated.
He's unstoppable. That's what I'm saying.
No, the defense though, like they keep bringing up the defense.
We gotta stop it.
Oh wait. Okay, well, here's a better example. And I'm sorry. I know I keep cutting you off, my man. But what about Rudy Gobert? Rudy Gobert also deals with those exact same problems where he's been stretched out to the 3-point line for multiple times in the playoffs. And teams get off the fact that they can just stretch him out and then really really reduce his impact defensively. So does that put him in question as a defender?
No, because I see your point. Because with Rudy Gobert, the difference is because Rudy Gobert can't anchor a defense with his rim pressure like he did with the Utah Jazz. But unfortunately, in the playoffs, it is easier to scheme around that because you just have to take him at the rim. And my question is to you, do you think this era kind of like shows Jokic's defensive liabilities more because it's more spread out, more pick-and-roll action and all that, and that's why people have the perception that like he's just a complete like cone. Even though I do think he's a liability, that he's just you think it's overblown.
I see your point with that, Dev, and Lowe's gonna say yes. The thing is like even when I picture him in other eras too. Like I do see him as a one-on-one defender, like in the 90s, like in the 2000s. Like I do think a lot of those.
But if he played in the late 2010s, if he played in the late 2000s, early 2010s, he'll be fine.
That'll be best friend. I think
100%. I would say from 2000 to 2015. From 2000 to 2015, it would literally just be Shaq and like 2 years of Yao.
Shaq. Okay, you said from the 2010.
From the year 2000.
Oh, 2000.
From the year 2000 to 2015, the only player that would be able to like really go up against him and score on him will be Shaq and a few years of Yao.
Maybe Boogie. I don't know.
Like what was Shaq
be scoring on him? What?
I guess. But it wouldn't be because Amari Stoudemire is creating anything. It would be because Nash is creating for him.
Okay, but
so it would be the same problem. Nash would pull him out from the three.
Oh, okay.
He wouldn't defend Dirk. He wouldn't be defending Dirk.
And also, quick question.
My bad.
Obviously, Jokic is a great offensive player. But like, do you think this for the penalty? Do you think being able to get offensive boards makes you a better offensive player in general? So like.
I think it does, but not to that extent. I think it does. I think there's a benefit to have somebody who's a great offensive rebounder. Does make them a better offensive player, but I don't weigh it that much into it.
Okay, because my question was like for Kevin Looney, because people are basically saying like the reason why I'm using Kevin Looney's question because like obviously everything else he does it like lackluster, but he's a good rebounder. So this person was saying he's a good offensive player because he gets the rebounds. So I'm like, isn't rebound, even though rebound is part of the game, is it some type of I don't know what the word I'm trying to say. It's kind of different from like completely offense when you think of like running plays.
I think rebounds should just be its own separate thing. It's kind of the importance of it like in the grand scheme of offense and defense is like it's minuscule. So why even rank it like that? Honestly, we don't sit here and when we talk about players' offense and defense, we rarely go off of this
Rebounding.
guy's a better rebounder offensively, so he's just that much better offensive player.
Defensive
No,
rebounds are even.
I
are
mean,
like
that's what
most
I do
underrated
because
stat.
I actually know ball. But hey.
the only person that does that is Mars, and he only does that to make his arguments sound better. Majority of the time, though, it's the importance of it is minuscule. I'm telling you, it is. It's minuscule in terms of ranking guys defensively and offensively. So
And
just keep it as rebounding.
Some people are saying that Embiid will. Dwight will lock up Jokic. Y'all sound silly, bro.
Dwight
Jesus.
wouldn't lock up Jokic, but I
He
do
would
think
not.
Dwight will. Dwight would
You
be.
need to harder him.
What do you mean? We talking peak Dwight?
Yes, Pete Dwight would not
Peak
be
Dwight
able to
isn't
lock
like a
up.
lockdown
No.
post defender.
He's not a lockdown post defender. He was actually a really bad one. If you
So
go
who do you
back,
think is the best defender for Jokic in history? Like who would you like? If you had to choose
Tim Duncan and Hakeem Olajuwon.
Okay, not Kevin Garnett.
No,
No, not KG.
let's
KG's not a post defender.
Okay,
Hey, tree of life. Tree of life. I seen you had. Oh wait, you was the guy talking about the stats earlier before or no?
Who me?
Was
Or
it-
with the KD stuff?
Oh no, because you had beef with Lowe. Did you get your beef off with Lowe yet or no?
Nah, I got a thing. So
You ran off your point guard list, right?
Mm-hmm.
like you had Isaiah Thomas above CP3 and Nash, right?
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
If I did, then I would put CP over Isaiah Thomas.
And what about Nash?
It's tough.
You got CP over Isaiah?
Come on.
Bro, you're a
CP
scoring
for sure.
merchant?
He's
That's
better on both
crazy.
ends.
That's
He's
all
not
he
over
is. He a stat merchant, bro.
You're scoring- No,
You
that's
got-
not. He's a
You
scoring
got CP
merchant.
over Isaiah Thomas?
What did that mean? Sound like you're a ring merchant. That's what it sounded like to me.
Ain't no ring merchant though. Who did more in their career?
What was
Yeah, that's a ring. It would actually be Chris Paul did more. So it would be a ring merchant if
Actually, Chris Paul did do more.
I ain't saying
Chris Paul did do more.
Like even in the
I don't know.
championship years, Isaiah
Is
Thomas
Chris
was
Paul
not
better than
a
Jason
dominant
Kidd?
player.
Yes.
Yeah, Jason Kidd. I think that's close though. I think Jason Kidd defensively.
What?
I think because Jason Kidd is.
So you're a
I
ring
think
merchant.
I'm not a ring merchant. I said Jason Kidd. His guy, he only got
that's
one ring.
close. I think that's very close. Because like I think Jason Kidd's a better defender, playmaking wise.
Yeah, he
I
is a
think
better
it's
defender.
close. I think it's super close. But then again, offensively, Chris Paul is a better.
Yes. I
But
said
Chris Paul is a better
that.
offensive player though.
You take Chris Paul
Hold
over
up,
Jake
Dad, let
Kidd
them have
passing?
it.
As a play, you said playmaker.
Playmaker, yes. I don't care.
He's a
If you
playmaker,
want to
yeah.
add that, yeah, I can create space for somebody shooting mirror. No,
That's a very
Kidd is
important
better.
aspect of basketball,
Jason
bro.
Kidd- Jason Kidd is better.
I think Kidd is a better passer, but I think Chris Paul's a better playmaker.
Because
Like in
his,
half court,
because
you know,
it's scoring. Because Chris Paul's a better scorer, so his
I need to hear this IT over Chris Paul, man, and how IT has done more than Chris Paul.
Okay.
Not
I
you,
said-
from SB, from SB.
What?
Uh.
What I'm saying, like besides
rings.
Oh my God!
Besides
Like how
scoring the
was
ball,
Isaiah
You gonna say
Thomas
what,
a top
scoring?
5 player?
What you gonna say,
They won
scoring?
2
Hey,
championships.
no, SB.
He's a better
Besides just
defender.
scoring the ball, and that's even debatable between the two.
Mhm.
Isaiah Thomas does nothing better than Chris Paul. I think
Isaiah
Chris Paul's a
Thomas
better
doesn't
scorer,
score the
too.
ball better than.
He doesn't really.
I don't think so. I don't think so
I
at
think
all.
Isaiah,
He
y'all
does
think
not.
Isaiah Thomas scored a ball?
Isaiah
He was below. He was like
I'm
below league average.
I'm telling you, dude. Look, both of these guys. We see both of these guys in position of leading teams.
Talk about it,
And,
Lo.
and I like. Don't get me wrong. Hornets, Chris Paul, dog, ball down, everything. But he that
Isaiah
had
didn't lead
more
the
better
team,
teams.
though.
Zeke
When they
has
won.
done more, bro. I'm sorry. Winning
When they
wise,
won,
yes.
it was not.
It's
This is what I'm saying.
championships.
But you got to look at the era too, because all the everybody's stats wasn't up there like that for small guards like that.
Yeah,
Compared
but
to
when you look at his,
what
relative
small guard during
efficiency,
that time was stats
it was
up
not
there like that?
good.
Stockton,
Like Kevin Johnson, like
Oh,
Mark.
Kevin
Thomas-
Johnson not small like that. Zeke like
yes, he
6'1".
was.
Wait,
Kevin
what's-
Johnson
I
like
thought
6'3".
Kevin Johnson like 6'3".
He's 6'1", bro.
Zeke is
6'1".
6'1". Zeke is 6'1".
KJ is 6'1" too.
KJ is 6'1".
Kevin Johnson.
I thought he was that's me. I'm wrong on that. I thought he was 6'3".
Isaiah Thomas was below league average efficiency like almost every year of his career. He was not
Mark
the
Price is another
scorer
one too. Mark Price is
you
6
think he
foot.
was.
But Zeke, I'm still taking Zeke over CP.
And when they won those championships, he was not like
the clear-cut best player on the team. They were a defensive-minded team.
I'm just saying. So
and
what?
they were
Y'all
like an
are
average, like a
I'm
little
just
bit.
saying, but
Like,
y'all
they're
not
like
even
an average
including,
offense.
y'all not even
He
including
did not like dominate.
evolution of skills from the point of time. Because you just telling me, yeah, he better pass score. That's evolution of the game.
Even
Zeke
for
part of
even
that too.
for-
Zeke was one of the guys who
I
was
think
close over
if you
starting.
want to say as a passer, I'm not as high as a passer on Chris Paul than many other people are, but if you want to say as a scorer, even comparable to his own era of Kevin Johnson, Mark Price, like smaller guards, John Stockton, he was still not like on par with, especially not Mark Price and Kevin Johnson. If you want to argue number wise, the numbers are comparable to Mark Jackson and not Mark Jackson, Mark Price and Kevin Johnson. If you want to argue efficiency, like they're still more efficient. Like there's guards at that era that were playing at all NBA levels that perform better than him. The only reason, again, it just sounds like it's success. And if we're being honest with ourselves, I'm not saying it doesn't count, but we're being honest with ourselves. Isaiah Thomas is on a very, very talented team.
Yeah, they had like a
Chris Paul wasn't on talented teams.
I think those late '80s Pistons are more talented than the teams that Chris Paul's been on.
Those was all-time great teams.
Wait, let's see. Chris Paul with the Hornets is what? Him.
Jesus, let's just say no to that. Let's just say no to that. Let's just say no to that.
Page a day.
Let's just say no to that. Let's just say no to it though. But let's just say no to it though. But let's just say no to that though.
Oh, we can say no to it, but he said what? CP was the Hornets. What? Him, David West, Pager, Tyson Chandler. Did he go to the Clippers? Was the Clippers next? It was him, Blake.
He made
DeAndre Jordan. Then we go to what? The Rockets was the next, right? Him and James.
That's probably his best team. That's probably his best team.
That was probably his best team. Was literally just
and then the Suns situation.
And he's out his prime.
And I think the Suns might actually be his probably best well-rounded team, and he was not in his prime.
The Clippers teams was nice though.
I didn't say they're nice. I didn't say they're nice. I think having two all-defensive league players on your team, one being DPOY candidate recipient, a relatively progressive big and Bill Laimbeer, two players coming off your bench who can give you like 15 plus on a night-to-night basis. I think that those are all things that
hold on, wait, Paul. What you got going on, bro?
Well, pause.
I can't believe people are putting up $2 to say some silly stuff.
That's fine.
That.
I mean,
and then love not to cut you. Yeah, bro. Hey, on that NBA trivia show, I got exposed as a casual, bro.
You did. I saw that.
I gotta see this. What trivia show is this?
He said.
Chill.
What was the question?
He said, "Who won a championship without a ring or something like that?"
No, who won the final? I thought he's so funny. Okay, for this question.
No. Just say the question.
He said, "Who won the NBA Finals MVP and lost the finals?" But I heard,
he said, Kobe Bryant.
SB, are you kidding me?
Look, man.
And then he looked. He was like, "What did I do wrong?"
What year was that? What year was that?
It was a Laker, but was it?
It was the wrong Laker.
But I was out there with a dude with a two-tone Laker jersey, so I had to be quick because he getting all the Lakers questions. But yeah.
Actually, hold on.
Sound like a
if y'all think I'm crazy, peak for peak. I think if y'all think I'm crazy, peak for peak, I think I might take Russ over Stockton peak for peak because I think career-wise, obviously Stockton better, but I feel like with Russell's scoring ability and obviously his defense not as good as Stockton, but I think with his playmaking ability, where he was to create advantages for that Thunder team, I think his peak was better than John Stockton's. And I am a Thunder fan, so I am slightly biased. So
this is where I have to be a Mars merchant.
Okay, I got you.
I think that because we've already accepted the fact that neither one of them can be the best player on a championship caliber team. We didn't have to assess him as a second option. And I think Stockton is a better second option.
Okay, so
Russ' decision making and his shooting is just
that's crazy.
Is it really just rush turnovers and shot selection?
It's not even just selection. He just not.
When you say only, it's like historically bad turnover, historically bad shot selection, historically bad efficiency. It'd be one thing if it was like slightly below league average, just historically bad. And
I think Russ hurt himself bad. I think Russ.
Dub, I'm
actually about to rotate the guests.
But I'm just saying, Dub. It seems as if like everybody just agrees with me. So
and you know what, y'all talking crap in the chat.
I walked in late.
Bro, are you willing to rank Isaiah over Nash? Well,
Isaiah Thomas over Nash?
Like, do you think Isaiah ranks over Nash as a point guard?
Oh, that's where it kind of goes iffy for me, because I do believe Nash benefited immensely from the era, the systems, and the players he played with. I don't know because Isaiah Thomas was putting up really great numbers when they were a more up-tempo team in the early 80s. His efficiency still wasn't on par with Nash. I'm not going to
Even the
act
efficiency was just
the
not at the level
efficiency.
of Nash, like,
But you understand what I'm saying. But we're like, when he was playing more up-tempo and he was playing with pace, he was playing, because I actually think that's more of who Isaiah Thomas actually was. The half-court offense, the more low post playing, the more kind of team setting up. That would have all. I think they put a cap on who Isaiah Thomas was as a player, because the up and down type of running that Isaiah Thomas used to do in the early 80s, I think that's actually best suited for him. He just had to make adjustments to his game, because at that time there weren't players, personnel, coaching, ideologies, and beliefs that would have best benefited who Isaiah Thomas was as a ball player.
And
that's where I kind of I pause. That's why I really, really pause with Isaiah Thomas.
Like, I agree with that, but even in that period, I think they had a top 3 offense like 1 year when in like the early 80s or whatever. And when you look at what Nash is able to do, how he's able to transform a team,
And 80-40 had the number 1 ranked offense.
The number 1, okay, they had number 1 in those years, but even though it was like less teams, but still that's a good achievement. But I just think what Nash was able to do,
that's crazy.
Like historically as an offensive spearhead, I think it just far exceeds what Isaiah does. Like, and defensively, Isaiah is better, but it's really not as much as people.
No, it's not as much as I don't think,
because the team he played on and bolstered his reputation.
Do you think though, in '84 when he played with Kelly Tripucka, Bill Laimbeer, John Long, Vinnie Johnson, I don't think he played with like as offensively, because the teams that he was on to do that. Again, and this is where Dub and I were just talking about. I think there is a difference between being a top 5 offense and leading to historic heights, but I do think that you need the personnel to still pull that off. I don't even think that Isaiah Thomas had the personnel to even get to historic heights. So I think it's also kind of like those players that he was playing with were not so great that they should have been like number 1. I mean, historically high offensive teams. I just don't think he had the personnel to pull that off.
You have beef with Dub, but I'll talk to him about it on Dub's real though.
We're doing Dub for an open gym. This is low.
We're open gym.
Low. So I give Jokic respect from the fact that he is dominating and one of the best offensive players. But can you acknowledge the fact that he's benefiting from the era where we more small ball, more fast of a pace? So you agree with that?
I agree with that. I think all of them benefited, but yeah. For sure.
Okay.
And before
except for Kobe, but I think everybody.
He's about to play like Shaq.
I think Kobe would have benefited more if he played today than he did any other.
Like, what would Shaq be defensively in this league? Like, think about that. Like, I know we always talk about Jokic.
He'd be garbage.
But like, Shaq would get cooked in the pick and roll.
He'd get cooked. He'd be fried. He'd be finished.
I have a question. Look, before I go,
is it?
I mean,
if they're able to stretch out Rudy Gobert, they will without a doubt be able to yes.
Can his offense be enough? Well, maybe Shaq could be.
No, his offense will be more than
his
enough.
offense would be great, but
his offense will be more than enough.
I think in this era, even though Shaq is lazy,
they would have more questions.
I think he would have stayed like his Orlando size and been small enough, but I still think
doesn't matter.
I think he just be like Giannis. I think he'd just be like Giannis.
Shaq,
a little bit worse.
No, he would not be like Giannis.
A little bit worse of a defender like Giannis. That's
not a little bit worse. It'll be noticeably worse.
It'll be a lot worse. Like Shaq, even if you like assume he stays at a good weight, like Shaq does not like defending pick and roll regardless.
Facts.
Shaq the type of dude who just watch it like, dang, you couldn't fight over that, bro.
You couldn't close out. You couldn't close out on that, bro. Like you just. I was watching a game with Ticket, and he was saying, "Oh, Ray Allen was getting congested threes," and it was a Laker game, and we're literally watching Ray Allen just get quality looks as his man is a censor for the Seattle Supersonics, set screens, and then Shaq is just watching him like.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
I'm like,
you see what Shaq said? It was a while ago with that WNBA player. I forget her name. What, Candace Parker or something?
Mm-hmm.
You see what he said about that? He was, what happened just fighting over your man and not stepping up?
Like he did that.
like I did. He said, why do people have to switch every now and then? Why don't you just play under the screen and let them fight?
Oh yeah, she cooked him too.
Yeah,
he didn't know what he was talking about.
What did he say?
Candace
Parker was like, because
like the shooting.
that Candace Parker said, well, what's going to happen? Guys are going to be left wide open, especially against a Nuggets unit where they're going to be cashing in on threes. And then you're going to be getting blown out. That Shaq was like, nah.
But you gotta understand though, all Shaq answers is championship ring. I gotta win a ring. That's
like Shaq does not know the game that well, honestly. Like Shaq is just
he knows the game. He doesn't care to know.
I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows it that well.
Shaq is just good at basketball. But
if you 7 feet dominant species,
there's no need.
You know what? My bad.
He's just
in contrast to like the other minds that we're talking about, because people are gonna then take this out of context and then send it to chill. Look, we're not talking about he's an idiot, but in contrast to the other players that we're referring to, where you would have to understand the game enough to really break down what needs to be done, Shaq was never really asked to do those things because he was so overwhelmingly dominant that the rest of the league changed to his playing style rather than him having to make certain alterations. So when he asked certain things like, why not just fight over the screen? It's like I don't. Are you not seeing what's happening right now? Like that's why.
Like, no, now like you want somebody. Now if you want to know somebody who don't know basketball is hooping, the dude who was on Gil's Arena, what's his name?
McCann.
He don't know down that. He completely.
Bro, I remember he went on Colin Cowherd's show and said LeBron couldn't take over games.
Yeah,
crazy.
Hey, fellas, I'm gonna rotate the guests, but Low is a capper. Is here. And I don't think I've heard him talk. So I need
Tatum over Jimmy.
No, thank you.
Tatum getting it done, man. It's over with.
Peace, SB. Be safe, bro. Casual.
Shout out to Tatum, man.
That's crazy.
Shout out to Tatum.
Watch the video.
I can't wait.
Shout out to Tatum, man. He doing his thing, man. Shout out to Tatum.
Right there,
booming on him, bro. Shout out to Tatum, bro.
What's up, Dub? What's up, Lo?
What up, man?
What smoke you got for Low right now, man? You the Low.
Yeah.
Get off your knees.
He got some. Get
off your knees, dog. Jesus. Y'all got stopped by the police?
No.
I see the blue lights in the background.
No.
All right, what's the smoke, man, that you allegedly got from me?
Yeah, I just want to expose you. Yeah. Like, I want to say, like, if you know Lowe's game, like if you study his game, he is he's ticket. He's the anti-ticket.
Yes.
Like,
thank you.
He has agendas against everyone.
He does the same talking points. He just has a way better way of saying.
Yeah. He knows when to use stats. He knows when to raise his voice, yell. Like he knows.
Oh my God.
He's smart as hell.
Y'all are crazy.
Just like ticket. Facts.
He does. Like against KD, especially, he's always ready with the agenda and the narratives and all of that.
Wait, what?
Facts.
Dub. No.
Against KD.
I've been saying that for a while now. Don't do that.
No. I'm saying you got something right here.
I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I promise you. Cut that shit. Cut the shit out. I'll kick you off your own show. Nah, but seriously, Lo, you do argue the way that ticket does. You just do it way better.
Yeah, you do.
You'll pick out a single. You do the same thing you get mad at ticket for. You pick out one single point, elaborate on it, execute it, get on people for doing that, call people names, flip it on. You just do it way better than him.
What is it? Okay, what's the problem? What are we? Because y'all just on your knees right now.
Go ahead, Lois. Stop. Go ahead, Lois the capper. What is something that
can you get his name? What is his name, dog?
I don't know his name. That Lois the capper is what I got. Look, you want me to lie?
No, I'm just saying you can ask him what his name is, though. You can respect his name. Jeez.
Everybody who has whatever their name is, I say that name.
Bro. It's fine, bro.
You just mad. Don't be in your.
What's up? What's going on? Because I don't. Dub is trying to take over the show right now. What's up with you, bro?
Yo, Lo.
Lo, cut the shit. Yeah. No, but Lo is the capper. No. Do you have any agenda?
What's the beef? What's the beef, man?
Yeah. I just want to say, Lo. Yeah, I just want to say, Lo. Yeah. I study your game a lot. I'm a huge fan. And I would say Lo does this thing where he points out every flaw in a contending team. And then when he's right, he's going to be like, I told you guys. He'll be making up like fictional people. He'll be like, I told you guys, but you guys didn't listen. You didn't listen. He's always doing that. But then when he's wrong, he was like, I was trolling in the spaces, man. I was trolling, guy. Like I was trolling. Like Low, really, he's always on defense. He's always like, if you listen, he's always on defense, but like he's just selective or like with his takes. He's very selective with takes.
Was I on the fence with Jokic this year?
Yeah, you were.
I was on the fence with Jokic.
Yes, you were. You like offensively.
I ain't gonna lie, if that's on the fence, then I don't know what to tell y'all then, bro. Me gassing up Jokic his entire year. If that's on the fence, man, I just don't know.
You were very hesitant on his defense.
Isn't that kind of on the fence?
But that still doesn't change my opinion on Jokic though. Just because his sus defense, that's not changing the fact that I feel he's a top 3 player in the league though.
Yeah, but like you were like Low, like this is what I'm saying. Like he's picking out arguments that he wants to argue.
So good.
No, all right, fine. Hey, we'll pick out. Wait, somebody. I think somebody echoing, but we'll pick out.
Echoing.
We'll pick out. We'll pick out another team, the Lakers. They surprised me this year. They went way and in the Twitter space. I also said this as well. They exceeded my expectations. I was wrong about the Lakers. I'm happy. I'm happy for what they was able to accomplish this season. I'm very, very pleased with who they were.
You're capping. You're absolutely capping.
I'm capping.
Like, yes, like when the trade was done, midway through that like 6-7 game win streak, I think you guys went on. Yeah. Midway through that 6-7 game win streak, you were like, okay, like, give me some goddamn.
Yeah, you let him know. You let him know. Big boys talking.
Jesus.
Oh, my bad. I'm playing.
Yeah, you are playing. Yeah, you're playing. You better have his shit.
Yeah, my bad.
I'm sorry. I have family in the car right now.
Sorry. No, you good. Don't worry about it. I'm playing with y'all. I'm a jokester.
Yeah, like someone else go real quick. Let me settle something real quick. But Low is just ticket, man. Like just you guys need to see the game.
No. Can you finish the Laker part? What did I say about the Lakers?
When they got done, like post trade deadline, you went like, "Oh, this Lakers season is over." You were like, "Oh, you actually thought they could beat the Nuggets." Like you actually thought that.
I did not.
Yes, you did. Look, I can find the space right now. Like you're capping. Like that. Damn.
I did not say. I wish Real Talk was in here because he was one of the people who were saying that, and I was very adamant about. I don't know how you can say that when literally I have a whole video where I did my playoff predictions and I didn't have the Lakers getting out the second round. I don't know how you say that. I was not running around being serious, running around saying that the Lakers are the best team in the West and they were going to win a championship. That was not my tone at all.
Nah, but like the only reason you said they couldn't make it out the second round was specifically because of the Warriors. Only like that was the only team you thought would actually give them a challenge. Am I lying?
The Warriors are up and down the whole year, like.
Yeah, that was the only team.
So if that's the case, why is it that before the Nuggets series started, I picked the Nuggets to win? Why is that then?
Because you're always flip flopping. That's what I'm trying to say. You always have an agenda.
Oh my god! Oh my goodness!
You were crying on stream when you did when the Lakers did make the trade.
I was happy. I was ecstatic. I was happy.
Hey,
I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like you're taking a lot of things out of context because I can find several, and I do mean several, of tweets and also me and Spaces saying, yeah, I don't know about the Lakers beating the Nuggets.
Like again, you can find those tweets because you're always tweeting one side, then the next day you're tweeting on the next side.
I think you don't understand when I'm
both sides.
No, I think you don't understand when I'm trolling. I think you don't understand when I'm trolling.
No, this is what I'm saying. Like when he's getting cooked, I was trolling. It was always a troll.
How about this? What do you think that I'm playing on both sides right now, and I'll answer it in the most serious manner possible. Tell me which one.
Okay. The Nuggets versus the Celtics. Who do you think's gonna win?
I think the Nuggets will win in 6. I think that out of the two teams, out of Miami and Celtics, I think the Celtics have the best roster to actually slow down Jokic because they have more multiple bodies, bigger bodies to put at him. The thing that concerns me about the Celtics is the lack of rim pressure that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown would get. I think that Aaron Gordon would do a really good job defending both of those players as well as KCP because they crowd their space, and Aaron Gordon in particular is a bigger body, so it makes it even harder for them to get to the basket. And then also I think the Nuggets do an exceptional job at rotating properly to contest the do a really good job rotating to give quality open three-pointers on some of the more sus three-point shooters. If Al Horford was knocking out his threes, it might be slightly different because that would stretch Jokic out to the three-point line. But because he's not, and because they're probably going to spend more minutes playing Rob Williams and Grant Williams, Jokic will be able to kind of sag off in the paint, drop coverage way more, anticipate the drive, which would then either allow Tatum and Brown to settle for three-pointers, which in particular Brown has been struggling all postseason along with, or mid-range jump shots, which the Nuggets have allowed to basically be the defensive scheme for most of the postseason run. The only way I could see the Boston Celtics beating them is if Tatum and Brown start attacking the basket way more often, getting Jokic in high screen and roll action. But again, because they're probably not going to play Al Horford that many minutes, I don't really think that they'll be able to pull that off. So I would have the Nuggets in 5 or 6.
Yeah, low. And when this is all said and done, like the Celtics are up like 2-0, low is gonna be like, I told Swiper, like they didn't have the perimeter defenders, man. It's not Jokic's fault. You said that when
wait. Low is the cap. How do you expect Jokic to do that against guys like Jaylen?
Yeah, Brown, like Jason Tatum. Like,
if they're knocking down shots, if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they would either have to have they would have to have an anomaly shooting series because they're just not those type of shooters, though. They're just not.
What if they're just cooking Jokic?
They shoot good, you're going to switch up. That's what you're saying?
No, I'm saying if they are, I'm just going to
It's an anomaly.
No,
it's an anomaly. It's a 1 series sample size.
Everyone gets cooked by it. But
I'm gonna tip my hat to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum for finally showing up with their shot, but that doesn't take away from what I'm. You know what I'm saying? Like they would have to do things that they normally don't do. That's what I'm saying. Would that be a fair assessment?
But they cook. And
I'm not saying they cook, but what I'm saying is still something that they normally don't do. Correct?
But if Jokic is a common denominator of offenses performing like that, what are we gonna say?
You mean? Oh yeah, the opposing team offenses. I don't think that would be Jokic being the common denominator. I think that they would just have to have series.
Oh, I see. I see.
Where do you rate Jokic's defense 1 to 10?
Like a 6 or 7.
And besides him moving his feet better and going up vertically better and all that stuff that you were saying earlier, what does he do that makes him such a good defender that gives him a 7 out of 10?
6 out of 10. I will go a 6 out of 10.
Okay, let's go with 6 out of 10. One less number.
That's a slight positive.
Did you hear my question when I said what does he do? What does he do?
All the things that you just named are things that will make him a slight positive. So I mean, he has to do more to be a slight positive.
I wouldn't say he's a 6 though. We're talking about Jokic's defense because if we talk about all the things that he lacks, compared to the things that he does better now than he used to do, I mean, I don't think it'd be a 6. It'd be something around 2, 3.
Shit.
Oh no, that's ridiculous. That's just
so. Who has better defense, him or Joel Embiid?
Embiid.
I feel like they're on the same par when you're talking about because when you were talking about Joel Embiid defense earlier, you were talking about
what?
You were talking about the things that Joel Embiid.
He's about to let me do it, Doug. He's about to lay it. You have to lob it.
When you were talking about the things that Joel Embiid couldn't do, Jokic can't do any of that shit you was talking about.
Yeah, but there's a lot more things that Joel Embiid can do, especially at the elite level, that Jokic also still can't do.
You said what?
There's also things that Joel Embiid can do that Jokic still can't do. So as a rim protector, Joel Embiid is just a better rim protector than Jokic.
So what is Joel Embiid? Is he an 8?
What? You said an 8?
1 through 10 again. Yeah.
Oh, you said 8. Oh,
yeah, 8.
Yeah, I think at his best. 8. Yeah, I think at his best he's like an 8. I think he probably performs more closer to a 7, more than likely. But I think at his best when he gives a damn, I think it is close to an 8. Yes.
So I'm still trying to figure out those things that Jokic does on defense. I don't know if I asked that question already. What does Jokic do on defense?
I'm named them, but
you asked it. He asked it and answered it.
You
So
answered,
it's like,
yeah. You sat there. You sat there and said outside of him and
it's not really good defense to me. You said he does better now with moving his feet. He also does better vertically when he's challenging shots. That's just him doing better on defense than he usually does, being atrocious. That doesn't make him just a 6 defender, a 6 out of 10. That's
I think that he's been better in passing lanes. His hands have been way more active. I think he's been more
Jokic
awareness. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think he has.
I need to get my TV fixed.
Yeah, you need to. I think he has better spatial awareness, and then I think a lot of bigs have. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the fact that the way that they play defense out there, they do a lot more scram switching. So you would have to be way more aware of the matchups and who's on the floor to make those type of defensive adjustments. Saying that he's a 2 would be like him making defensive errors and like leaving players open that he shouldn't be leaving open. Like that's how far a 2 would be. Like Jokic is not leaving open players that he shouldn't be leaving open. Like they're making sound decisions to rotate and leave the players open that need to be open. Jokic is still excellent at identifying like where the action is actually happening and where to place himself in. He doesn't like allow himself to just get blown by as often, especially as often he used to do. So I don't know, like.
Because when you were talking about Joel Embiid's defense earlier, you were talking about his ability to be able to switch at the top of the perimeter and defend well. And I just want to know what centers in the league really do that at a
Anthony Davis, Triple J,
Bam Adebayo,
and Bam.
Yeah, Bam. See, that's what I'm saying. Besides those 3, I don't really know. And this is,
I think those are 10s. I think those are 10s though. I think those are 10 level defenders.
Right. But Bam, like when you're talking about his position wise, I don't really feel like he should be a center at all. So when you're talking about him, a 6'9", center, yeah, I know Dub's gonna look like that because he just feels like
be a center. How tall was Ben Wallace?
6'9", Dub.
He was 6'9". Right?
Oh, Ben Wallace swole though. Ben Wallace swole AF.
When you're talking about the frame difference,
swole, like he's strong.
When you're talking about the frame difference between Ben Wallace and Bam, it's obviously a difference. It's obviously a difference defensively when you look at them both. Like when you just look at their gameplay, Ben Wallace is obviously a better defender than Bam. But I'm just saying
is he though? Is he?
I wouldn't even say obviously. I think Ben Wallace is better as like a low post defender.
See, I'm not about to get into this discussion with you, Doug. So you're trying to throw me all off talking about the Heat.
No, I ain't gonna lie, you throwing yourself off, but
because I was talking about Bam, and now we're talking about Bam and Wallace. Like I'm not about to talk about that shit right now, bro. That wasn't the whole point. I was talking about centers at the perimeter defense, bro. It's not that many centers who can do that well. So are we?
That's what makes them 10s, though. That's literally what makes them 10s.
So 3 out of 30,
and that's what makes Bam better than Bam.
3 people out of 30 teams that's able to defend the perimeter. I'm just saying, I don't feel like
I think Rudy Gobert not anymore, but I think Rudy Gobert, quiet as kept, could also do that fairly well as well.
I'm just saying, I don't feel like that should be used as a point when we're talking about good defenders of a center. Because first of all, that's not even their job most of the time. Even though they I wouldn't say just started it, but when you're doing pick and rolls and you're leaving a center at the top of the perimeter, we don't really expect every center to be good defensively at the top of the perimeter. That's what I'm saying. So when you use that point, he's not a good perimeter defender, and then you can only tell me 3 people in the league that are good at doing that.
There's levels to it, though. There's levels to it.
Yeah,
so.
For example, again, I think for example, Rudy Gobert, I don't think he's as good as a perimeter defender or switchable defender as Bam or AD, but I think he's still better than Joel Embiid, though. So there's still levels to it.
Yeah, I feel like he's better than Joel Embiid. I'm just saying when we're talking about centers defense, we bringing up automatically perimeter defense is. I feel like that's
what he's saying.
But it wasn't. I don't understand what he's saying because the only reason why I brought it up was in particular to highlight how Jokic is getting killed defensively because he.
You were talking about Joel Embiid, and you were talking about.
I get that. What I'm saying is that if and then he also followed up by saying, "Well, do you think Embiid will get cooked like that?" And I said, "Yes, he would. He would get cooked that same way that Jokic was getting cooked over the past
90% of the league, though.
Fuck, bro. Listen, that was my point.
Okay,
my point.
that's the point. But I'm saying, why bring up that point? There's
that was my point. My point was how bad is it that Jokic is getting cooked if the way that he gets cooked is the same way that 90% of that was my point. That was my point.
That wasn't the discussion though. You weren't talking about
that was it not, Dub?
You were.
It was exactly the point.
That was literally the point, right, Dub?
Yes.
Dub, was that not the point, Dub? Oh, okay, that's what I thought. That's what I was
talking about. Jokic.
And chat, was that not the point, chat? Was that not the point, chat?
No, we're not talking about Jokic at that time. That's not what I'm saying. At that time, you were talking about Joel Embiid's defense.
No.
And you were saying that when he is switched on to
June, stop for a second. Lowe brought up Joel Embiid's defense because the thing that, which I understand why he brings it up, the thing that Jokic gets killed for.
Dub, Jokic wasn't part of the conversation.
You keep interrupting.
I understand what he's saying now, but Jokic,
I was saying that the entire time.
Oh my God, bro! Y'all, no, Dub,
I was on the show with him the whole entire time.
Me too. I'm literally watching the whole show. No, I'm watching the whole show through Discord right now. And you were discussing the 76ers and Joel Embiid. Jokic was not in the conversation at all. I understand what you're saying now.
You came in at a bad time because literally what you're saying is what I also said.
Okay, all right.
Literally, what you're saying is what I said.
Does anybody have?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you better just.
I
better just what? Chill out.
Okay. First, I want to say it's my first time here ever, so I want to say salute to Dub, salute to Mars, salute to Low, salute to the whole players.
Mars not even up here.
I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying.
You gotta go. You gotta go.
Jokic is crazy.
I'm just saying salute to everyone, bro. Salute to Chill. Salute everyone. It's my first time ever a player choice like ever.
Salute to Mars. Who's not even here.
I'm just saying.
Salute to Ticket.
You know who's his favorite panelist?
I know that's right.
Actually, maybe Fluent and Chill is my favorite show.
Wow.
I do have a question for Lo. Okay, you and Chill were having a discussion earlier, talking about how you don't necessarily agree an offensive peak should correlate to winning. What I mean by that is, you have Jokic's offensive peak higher than Kobe. And my only thing with that is the argument used against that was Reggie Miller, his skill set as a shooter is still great and he didn't win. Okay. But offensive peak is more than just a shooter. I just feel like if your offensive peak is how you're describing it as this all-time top 5 to top 10, at some point you should win with that. Now he might prove me wrong this year. I'm not debating. Jokic is freaking he's goated, bro. I've never seen a center that can pass like Magic Johnson. That's crazy. This guy is crazy, but he might prove me wrong. The shooting touch of Dirk Nowitzki. This guy.
Wow.
I'm just throwing the adjectives out there to say Jokic is amazing. I'm not.
No, for sure. Even I wouldn't say shit like that, but you got it.
But why do you feel like if his offensive peak is that high, why should it not correlate to winning? That's all I'm really trying to say.
Because your defense can be significantly worse. That's it.
But okay, you said defensive. Okay, fair enough.
Also, just FYI, the player who's leading the Denver Nuggets in deflections is Jokic. So to the nigga who's saying, "Well, I need to fix my TV," I guess you need to, bro.
Let me ask Chippy. Can I ask you?
Deflections is crazy though. I understand.
Oh, now deflection don't matter now.
Oh, let me talk about. Give me one. Oh man, deflection don't matter. Dude, give me 1 second.
Deflection don't matter.
All right, bet.
So let me ask you, right? The Phoenix Suns offense, right? Would you say that that's not one of the best offenses we've ever seen?
Of course, no doubt.
But they never won.
W. Cook.
That's never crossed your mind before.
I mean, that has, but
I was just asking you a question.
That's a very simple.
Okay, but to rebuttal that, it's not like Mike D'Antoni's offense is so. It's very, I would say.
Oh shit.
What's
Wait,
the
he
one?
can't.
Yo, chill on him. Chill on him.
Let's be real. How, like, okay, if we're comparing Mike D'Antoni, he obviously he's a revolutionary of today's offense. I get that. You know, run and gun, shoot threes.
PJ Tucker at the 5.
PJ Tucker. Okay, yeah.
Not even that. The sets.
No. Hey, stop. What
center
are you
five.
trying to say? Say what you're trying to say.
Oh, I'm trying to word it correctly, but like,
Passing lanes is crazy.
Just say words. Just say words.
Just say
Bruh,
what
like,
you're trying to say.
it's Mike D'Antoni. Like, he can only coach one way. Of course, they're not gonna win anything, bro. At some point, like, come on, bro. Like, it's Mike D'Antoni.
Even with the quote unquote one way, he's still like those offenses still were some of the greatest offenses in NBA history, even in the playoffs.
But you just knew they weren't going to win anything when you worked strictly on offense.
That's incorrect. Y'all are just revising history. But
did he make it? I'm asking.
You thought that any of Mike D'Antoni teams were on the trajectory to win an entire championship?
The Suns?
But that 2007
defense was not that good though.
It was an average defensive unit,
but they still could have won.
They still could have won too. What are you talking about?
Okay, look, honest question.
Compared to the, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
My bad, bro, come on.
Because compared to the other teams that's in 06, you're trying to convince me that they were just going to win everything. Like,
so who did they lose to in 06?
Perfectly constructed teams. I forgot who it was overall.
No, just tell me. Just tell me who did they lose to.
But here's my other question.
That is an easy one, Juba.
Here's my other question.
Cook is crazy, bro.
No, that's Cook. That 06. Who made it to the finals in 06, Junebug?
He don't know. He's a casual. Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Hold on, bro. I was just sending someone the link to the StreamYard. I thought y'all was talking to Boba and chill out.
You were Googling, bro.
Hey, bro, just like Boba.
I just sent him the link to the StreamYard.
But to answer the question, that's the reason why, because it takes more than just having an elite level offense to win. So when in terms of as your skill set as an offensive player, if Jokic wins 4 more games, you're telling me that your perception of him as an offensive player is going to change drastically now? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not going to change drastically. I
had
him
him
maybe. I had him. Okay, we have him top 5. Am I correct or wrong? Top 5?
Yeah, he's top 5, my boy.
I had him like top 10.
6, like 6 or 7.
I had him like 8 or something, 8 or 7, around that range. I don't have top 5 though. I just feel like at some point it should correlate to winning. That's all I'm saying. But I don't know
why though.
Why? Because you play the game to win. You play.
So did you question Garnett as a defender until 2008?
I mean,
Jesus, these are like very simple. Like, what are we doing right now? Like, this is like,
he's
a very
W Cook. But okay, but about D'Antoni.
This is a fluent and chill guy, by the way.
Yeah, so I'm saying.
I know, right?
I will admit I'm a casual. I know that.
Well,
your talking points are exactly their talking
That's what I'm saying.
Which is why it's not good talking points.
Until last year, I was an ESPN merchant. Okay, I ain't gonna lie, so I'm not trying to.
Hey man, welcome to the good side, man. Welcome to the good side.
Luka market.
Oh wait, so do you challenge? I mean, this goes to a bunch of players. Like, do you challenge David Robinson as a defender until Tim Duncan got there? Do you challenge Charles Barkley? But do you challenge Charles Barkley as an offensive player in general? Do you challenge there's a lot of players?
No, it's fine. It's okay. Listen. Just start watching Open Gym more and
because
but now you got Joe Mars in that defense, so you don't really get a lot of heat, bro.
You are being led down the wrong path.
No. I'll say I watch a lot of player choice episodes. I mean lives, but I couldn't join till now. I just got my first apartment right now. It's with my parents' house. So
Congrats!
So appreciate it. So I'm actually like, it's my first time. That's why I'm so excited. It's my first time I can actually like be myself on YouTube or like
I appreciate you for your support. I appreciate you for your grind to get in that new apartment, and for that, I'm gonna give you some advice. Watch more Open Gym, low nose, over fluent and chill, because this is not a good path to.
This is real hoop talks over here, man.
Real hoop talks.
I'm talking real hoops.
Real hoop talks is crazy.
Also, just an update: if you remove Kawhi Leonard and Victor Oladipo because they only played 2 games, Jokic is, I believe, top 10 in deflections in all of the playoffs. You need to fix your TV, my boy.
Bruh. Using the fact that he can do deflections, move his legs a
Is
little
that not
bit.
defense? Am I bugging? Is that not defense?
Hold on. Let me get this off before you start screaming over me.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought. It's defense. That's what I thought.
No. It is defense. But using that as the fact that he's a positive because he can deflect the ball, move his feet a little faster, and jump vertically than he used to do better. Like you're literally talking about the fact that.
But I literally said that when it came to deflections, it's not just he improved in the playoffs. He's top 10 in deflection, so he's literally top 10 in the defensive metric.
Okay, wow, that's
but why we all acting like there's 4 people in the league that can cook Jokic?
What?
Why we only acting like there's 4 people in the league that can cook Jokic in the pick and roll?
You said what?
You said only the elite players can cook Jokic in the pick and roll.
People that can cook Jokic in a pick and roll.
Oh, who else would it be?
Literally, probably more than half of the league, bro.
Oh well, that's where that's just
the Spurs did it. It's like, nah, let me stop.
Yeah, see, there it is. See, there's the troll.
The Rockets did it.
They did.
Whole light went off.
They did.
Whole light went off. That's a troll right there.
That's
bro. You got
crazy that my light went off right when I said that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's scary.
I got some super chats to read off.
Shea wouldn't cook him?
Hold on. I got a question.
Wait.
Tyus
even a top 10 point guard?
Cam Thomas?
Hold on, wait. It's so many other things going on. I know we're reading the super chats. What are we doing right now? What are we doing?
No, you were about to say something. I was waiting for you to say something, and then I'll read it.
Trae Young went to
Hold on, Junebug.
Trae Young?
Yeah, you will cook, bro. Come on,
if he got it going, I guess. What I was about to say, I'll say Shea maybe, but I mean, I think he would just play drop coverage and then force Shea to just shoot threes in mid-long twos. That's what I think he would do.
And Trae would.
So you think he couldn't beat him to the post? You don't think he could beat him to the paint at all?
I think he'd be sagging already to the paint though. I don't think he'd be.
And that'd be a bad idea.
The 3-point
That'd be a damn bad idea.
To the paint. That's what you're telling me. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Say it again.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, where he has, even if he has to be at the 3-point line, whether he's cooking him from the mid range or if he brings him all the way out to the 3-point line,
he's not. But see, this is why you're just. It's like you're not intelligent right now. Why would Jokic defend somebody all the way to the 3-point line if it's Shea?
No, it's the pick and roll. He's not.
He wouldn't step up. He wouldn't step up that high in the pick and roll.
Even if he doesn't okay, let's say he doesn't step up all the way.
Let's not. You clearly didn't watch him because he doesn't defend him that way.
He doesn't. Even if he doesn't, since you want to be so technical, even if he backs all the way back up to the free throw line, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isn't still cooking him, getting past him to the paint. That's a simple yes or no question.
I think he would have possession. I think there'll be possessions, but I think because Jokic knows where he's trying to get to, I think Jokic would just meet him there. Now again, I think that he would do a worse job than like 50% of the bigs. Got like 50 to. I think he'd do a worse job than like 50% of the bigs. But I don't think he would be like a flat out negative so many times against a Shea.
I didn't say he would be a flat out negative. I asked you, would he beat him to the paint? And
so if he's not a negative and he's a neutral, then that would still align with what I'm saying about him.
No, I'm just saying it would be on multiple possessions. But no, because earlier you were talking about he was going up against Chris Paul and Steph Curry. Of course, that's gonna happen, bro. Anybody in the league can do what they did on Jokic, bro. That's what I meant.
Fact.
Kind of crazy.
So you say no, saying anybody is just
not anybody. Anybody is crazy, but you know what I mean.
Jalen Brunson cooking them.
Put it down to a certain.
Monte Morris.
Yes, Jalen
Brunson probably would.
The fact that we have to question
in the playoffs.
Just because he did it to your team, though, doesn't mean
cut it out. He did it to Rudy Gobert too. What are you talking about, Lo?
Would Mikal Bridges?
What are you looking at?
Would Mikal Bridges cook Jokic?
Cooked.
No. Okay. I'm trying to think of offensive players or trying to people.
Multiple offensive players. Just
did he do it? Did he do it against the Cavs, Brunson?
No,
he did. No, he did not. No, he was not.
Nah, the Miami series was better.
He was without a doubt better
defense, though. Better defense.
It's kind of hard getting past Mobley and Jared Allen at the same time to the cook. But when you just running past,
no, wait, don't say it out loud. Say the Cavs defense is better than Miami's defense. Say that.
I don't want to.
I thought he was talking about the Nuggets.
What's a super chat? What's a super chat? Man? Let's get to these super chats.
Let's get
these. Before I continue to cook these.
Hey, Dub. Hold on. Dub.
I came in and said 2 words and cooked you, Lo. What you talking about?
Who's talking?
Yeah, it's Lo's a couple.
Oh man. All right, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. All I want to say is like when the Nuggets win, watch Lo drop the nastiest video of all time on the second channel. He's going to be like,
I'm dropping. No. I would not say. I'm not saying that. I'm dropping a video on my main channel tomorrow about the Nuggets.
You're gonna be like, I saw this coming, right?
No, I did not.
I mean, we'll see the video. We'll see the
video. He studied your style, Lo.
Yeah, I know you, Lo.
I've already recorded audio, and in the audio,
I said, with stats.
Even I did not think that they.
He said he's gonna edit the video tonight.
Wait, who'd you have making the finals?
I had the Warriors making the finals. I thought if the Warriors,
has been a terrible road team. Anthony Wiggins just getting back. GP2, not even if it's
Jubug, hold up, bro. This is.
I'm cooking my own team right now. That's who he had winning. The Warriors, who won 11 road games this year. The Warriors.
That is crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
All right.
I'll go ahead, go Doug.
I got super chat, so I'm gonna just read these off.
Yeah.
I went back and watched a lot of John Stockton film, and I still don't see how John is better than Jokic as a passer. By the way, and TikTok's funny as hell.
She's the light. She's the light.
You're welcome, my dude. You're starting to see the light. You know, welcome to Real Hoop Talks right here, man. We really talk basketball around here, man.
Facts.
No narrative.
Better than Jokic, but when people say he's top 5, and he rose
with
out.
Another one. So I can literally play an infinite amount of time without winning, and you still would disagree? Is this not just praising longevity for its own sake? That was when he asked.
I thought he when he said 100+ years, I thought he was just being hyperbolic. I didn't know he literally meant. I didn't know you literally meant 100+ years. Sure, if you play 100+ years at that level, then sure, without a doubt, I'll give it to you. But I thought you were just being hyperbolic.
What year is Jokic in?
9. Yeah, 9.
99.
That's how they talking about him. Top 5.
Nah, but so if a guy, what you're saying, Lo, if a guy played for
if he plays 100 years at a thing,
and didn't win, he's the GOAT.
Yeah, that's what they do for Chris Paul.
Cool. Lo, what do you think the answer is to make the Lakers a better team?
Wing depth. That's the first thing they have to provide.
And sign Rajon Rondo.
No. Wing.
Would the Lakers, speaking of wing depth, would the Lakers have enough cap? I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Would the Lakers have enough cap to do something to trade for Mikal Bridges?
Oh, fuck no. Jesus. No.
I don't even think the Nets would accept.
And the Nets wouldn't accept the trade, no.
I would love to see him on the Lakers.
He's unmovable.
Oh, he's
unmovable.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's
their superstar.
Yeah, he's
the same old heads that up Stockton for leading an all-time assist with down LeBron for leading in all-time points. That is a fact.
But my thing is though, y'all same young heads that watch Low ain't watch Stockton. Y'all just low merchant. Y'all low sexual.
He just sat there and said he watched Stockton. He just said
not him.
There's footage that you could watch.
I don't believe it.
And Low has gone.
So you don't believe him?
I tell people this all the time. Don't take Mars, Low, me, Chill, Fluent, Ron, Ticket. Don't take any of our words.
Go watch it.
Go watch the fucking games. You're probably watching the same games we're watching too. There's all the games. We're literally all watching the same games with just different opinions. So just go have some individuality and just go look it up yourself. You don't have to rely on other people to make an opinion.
That's facts, bro. That's facts,
dog. And that's why.
And then when you come back and when you come back and you see that I was right, just tell me I was right. That's it.
Yeah, that's why you need to get Tim Duncan out your top 5, Lo.
Whoa.
Out the top 5?
Out the top 5. Tim Duncan need to get out.
No, that's a little crazy right there. Now you're going too far.
Real quick. I can wait.
Bro, can we get to the we only got 15 more minutes, though.
Can't seem to do anything that with that inverted pick and roll Denver does, because I really can't think of anyone that has the personnel to guard that.
Bam Adebayo.
The Celtics a little bit. Please start with Bam Adebayo. Please. Please.
The problem is that Jimmy would be on Jokic, and I guess as a guard defender or wing defender, Jimmy's probably one of the better players to do so. If LeBron was healthy, it would be LeBron and AD though. That's what it would be. That would be the personnel to defend him. That would, without a doubt, be it.
It's not bad.
But LeBron wasn't healthy.
Should have been Zeke on the dream team for PCP. Shout out to Puerto Rico. Don, probably off topic, but Lo, what do you think is the top 5 offensive month stretches for players? For example, Curry in April 2021, Kobe in January 06.
I don't know.
We have to look at a lot.
That's a good topic, though. That's a good video.
Harden in like 2018, that like January or February.
Yeah,
that is a good video.
Well,
Because
I can't tell you.
That's a lot. That's a lot of.
Jason Tatum had like a 40-point month.
I think that would be a great video. Actually,
that sounds like a Mars type video.
Well, y'all
That's
make
the
it.
videos Mars makes, bro.
True. Yeah, Doug, let's do it, Doug.
I made one video that shit took me like 3 days. I'm like, nah.
Yep, and now you know, and now you know, and now you know, and now y'all know.
And I didn't even use as much like YouTube footage. It's like, nah, bro.
Yeah, now y'all know. Yeah, now you know how long it takes to make those videos, boy.
On top of looking up for the numbers and researching everything too, is like,
and that video was like 15 minutes.
Yes, 15 to 20-minute videos.
Like for like a 3-day process, and people don't even realize that.
Right.
That shit is not sweet.
Which
superstar? That's why Mars only did 2. Which support?
He quit. He quit. He's a quitter. You're a quitter, Mars.
That's why he does live instead.
Nah, he did that to get monetized. Which superstar supporting cast gets overrated? I'm gonna go with Tim Duncan calling the 2014 Spurs a super team is wild. LOL.
When
I'm
were they
gonna say all of Tim Duncan's supporting cast is overrated.
What?
No, all of them.
That's a discussion for later. But
that 2014 team was the best team.
And then when you get proved wrong, when you get proved wrong, you're gonna say trolling. Or are you
All
serious?
right, I'm literally dancing right now. You think that? I'm serious?
Okay. See, I don't know, bro. With those glasses, it's hard to tell, bro.
Oh my god, damn!
I can't see the facial expressions.
I'm literally dancing. You think that I'm
can't see the facial expressions with basketball rippers coming off of them.
Tips on how to be a better observer of basketball games.
Watch more than just the ball, or get an understanding of how or matter of fact, get a better understanding of why a team is getting so many quality looks, and then try to figure out a way for them to counter it. But you start to realize like what players are going to, and then you'll get to a point where you'll start knowing what teams are going to run before they even start running it. Just seek patterns and how teams are creating advantages, and then you'll get close enough to me. You'll get closer to me. You'll get closer to me. My ball.
And thought the Warriors were still gonna. All right, you know what? Never mind.
To my ball, knowing.
Learn the playbook.
Right, June, bro.
Watch.
You ain't have to know the whole playbook.
No. I mean, like, just learn plays. When you see plays on the court, and you know what they're running. It makes a better understanding of what's going on.
I guess.
My
YRG brother Low cooking right now. Holy!
Weren't you kicked out though?
I mean, I call Rage right now, bro.
Who's YRG?
Your Rage.
You're not YRG, love.
Your Rage, bro.
Your Rage.
I'm about to call Rage right now. You're playing with me.
Yeah, shout out Your Rage, bro.
Who the hell is Your Rage?
Yo, what else we got? We got less than 10 minutes, bro. What else we got?
That's the last
one. A casual YouTuber.
All right, what y'all gotta say?
I'm 100% a casual YouTuber. I keep it.
I already told you Tim Duncan ain't top 5.
I don't know who these like streams are.
Oh wait, Dad, let them finish because we got to wrap this up quick, bro.
No. Who's your top 3 defensive players all time?
He's about to go right there. Say it one more time.
Who is your top 3 defensive players of all time?
Duncan, Hakeem, Russell. Not in that order.
How do you gauge like era by era how they do, and like since there's not really good defensive metrics to go by, like how do you just analyze?
Yo, casually taking out the lip balm is crazy. It's crazy.
I go by if there's any stretches of years where, especially where a player was hurt or unavailable to play, what did the defense look like when they were on the floor versus when they were off the floor? In particular for Bill Russell, I think the year that he was injured, in the years before that when he was there, before, right, what the defense looked like before he got there and what it looked like after, how that translates to the postseason, how much it altered the opposing team's scoring presence altered when those players were playing and on the floor. And then in particular, probably like specific matchups as well.
All right.
Western, you said Tim Duncan's overrated. Why?
I
No,
feel
he just said he's gonna be
top
top 5.
Long, man. His prime wasn't as long compared to the rest of the top 10.
Bro, he won it.
Compared to Michael
He won a chip in 20. Bro, come on, bro.
No.
Yo,
Tim Duncan's prime was not that
Dom.
long, bro. Like he came.
He was
in one of
hooping from the
best
90s,
NBA
bro.
players. Like 1997, he came in, but his prime like lasted to what 05, 06.
There's no way you stopped it at 05. Fuck,
bro. His numbers went down below like 20 points a game, like 10
but that's
rebounds
that.
a
But that
game.
doesn't mean that he's out of his prime just because his scoring went to 20 to 19. Like, come on, let's be intelligent for a second now.
All right, so how long did his prime last?
I would say that at the soonest it stopped in 2007, but I could easily argue it went to 2009.
All right, so then one of them years they got swept by the Grizzlies in the first round.
That's 2012 or 2013.
So like that prime still ain't that long when I bring up players like Kareem, Michael
From
Jordan,
9. Oh, it's not.
Brian,
It's
LeBron.
1, 2.
Magic.
See, it's not. You brought up
Magic.
Magic. Holy smokes! Holy no!
You just said that Tim Duncan's prime ended at 07. Magic had went to the finals in 91.
That doesn't mean okay, but
that's 10 plus.
Tim Duncan went to the finals in 2014.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He did not lead that team to the finals in 2014. Magic led his.
I'm counting 12 years of Duncan in his prime.
You just said 97 to 07. That ain't 12 years.
I would say the latest 2009. So if you count 97, 98 to 2008, 2009, that's 12 seasons.
Yo, to
you
do
got
that.
Tim Duncan in that top 5 in his prime, but then Kobe whooped that ass in 08. So let's go ahead and get to it. Let's go ahead and get down to it. Kobe needs to be top 5 over Tim Duncan. Stop playing.
So what happened when Kobe actually had Shaq and they still lost to them twice?
Still lost to him twice with Shaq. Wait, hold on. Then they also beat him 3 times with Shaq. Then they also beat him like
he had Shaq.
Kobe's playoff record versus Tim Duncan is 4-2.
He just said they lost 2 times without Shaq. And
Kobe's playoff record versus Shaq is 4-2.
I think it's 3-2.
Went against Tim Duncan without Shaq, he whooped that ass. Got it up out of here.
That's fine. But again, even when he had Shaq and they still lost. So what is that? Does that mean anything to you?
I mean, I give Tim Duncan credit as one of the greatest power forwards of all time.
I'll ask that question again.
You're bringing up 03, right? You're bringing up the 03 when he had that great run and everything. That's good. But he also got an ass whooping in 01.
Okay, but
hold on. He got an ass whooping in 04.
Yeah,
and then Kobe led
Shaq
all
on
these
his team.
series
With
in
Shaq
scoring.
on his team. With Shaq
He
on
led
his team.
each one of those
Shaq,
series
yes,
in
with
scoring.
Shaq on his team. Yes,
and with Shaq on his team, he led each one of those series.
Yeah,
with
and
Shaq
the way that they defended Kobe is different. How they defended Shaq, they would send double teams to Shaq. He would get way more defensive attention than Kobe did. You'd have to watch the games to know that, but yeah.
No, I give Tim Duncan credit. Tim Duncan and David Robinson credit for doing a great job on Shaq. But then, like, if we bringing up the Lakers' biggest rival at that time, they would not have gotten past the Spurs if it would not for Kobe leading that team in scoring.
I'm not denying that.
That's why I always give Kobe the credit over both Shaq and Tim Duncan when it comes to the all-time. Because in both of those series, Kobe was the X factor. He was the X factor.
Yeah, but again, he wasn't being defended the same that Shaq was. So
Kobe had Bruce Bowen on him. Bruce Bowen was an all-time defender.
Yeah, and Shaq was being defended with Robinson or Duncan, with the other one coming to help, and sometimes another player stunting at him as well. The level of defensive attention was not the same. It just wasn't the same. That shouldn't even be up for debate.
All right, so in '99, when Kobe was not that good and it was all on Shaq, what happened?
Didn't they lose?
They lost.
No. Then
they lost in '99 when Kobe wasn't in his prime, and Shaq was the man, the whole offense went strictly.
I'm not saying that Kobe wasn't valuable or impactful. I'm not saying that Kobe wasn't valuable.
I'm just saying.
Okay, and when Kobe was in his prime, he also still lost.
Wait, say it again.
When Kobe was in his prime, he still lost to Duncan. So this idea that like the difference was between his prime and not in his prime, but he lost in his prime. I just think the way that you're assessing them is a very low IQ level to assess players. We're talking about somebody in Duncan who was not on this. He did not have the same level of offensive help that Kobe had at that time. He just didn't.
Oh, wow. Hey, in 09, in 08, Kobe beat him in 5.
Oh no, 08 is very impressive for Kobe. But if you're gonna just talk about the overall record between the two, when majority of the record was spent with Kobe sharing the floor with Shaq, and the way that they were being defended is two drastically different ways.
And with that, that's like a very low IQ point of looking at it, because like now Kobe can never be over Shaq in that opinion. He can never be.
I know what this is not how I assess ball players. I don't assess. That is not how I assess. I'm just using your logic against you. I don't assess ball players this way, that where it's like, oh, look at their records and who was on their team. I don't care about the records that you had against somebody else, because of the way that the team is schemed, the way that you was on your and that's how you that's how you assess them. That's fine. That's how you assess them. That's not how I assess them. No.
Is Larry Bird a better player than Michael Jordan? To the dude.
Can someone kick him, please?
No. Yeah,
answer the question.
Yeah, with Larry, is Moses Malone better than Kareem? Is that what you're saying?
Is Moses Malone better than Kareem?
Yes.
What's their record? What's the playoff record?
I think it's like 2-1 or 3-1 in favor of
and
Moses.
Larry Bird and
bro, you're going to compare
Jordan.
2-1. That's like a very low.
Okay, Larry Bird and Michael Jordan
compared to 4-2.
And Moses, I'm going to say, and Moses did not have the supporting cast and still beat him. Yes.
That's a very low. Like you talking about?
I'm talking about the difference. Oh, it gotta be.
I'm talking
about
3 games better than 6, man. Come on, that's different.
It gotta be. Okay, it has to be a lot.
It gotta be a lot of games, but
it's series. We ain't talking about games. We talking about series.
It gotta be a lot of series. No, it has to be a lot of series.
Represented the West.
No, for sure.
99 to 2005.
No.
Who's better, Will Chamberlain or Bill Russell?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm asking you. Yeah.
I mean, see, who I think the better player is Will Chamberlain. Bill Russell had a better career though.
Who's better? The same way that you're using this logic right now. Who's better, Bill Russell or Will Chamberlain?
I'll take Will Chamberlain.
That doesn't make any sense. Kick him. Doesn't make any sense.
I'll take Will Chamberlain.
Well, we gotta end the show. Anyway. Appreciate everybody.
Send him to hell.
You put Will Chamberlain on the Boston, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah. You put Tim Duncan next to Shaq. Kobe's not beating them at any point. That's why your logic is flawed. That's why it's flawed.
My whole point is Kobe already beat Tim Duncan without
one time. One time. There would never have been a point.
We talking about one series?
Yeah, one series.
And they got
if Shaq and Duncan played from 97 to 2005, and if Kobe was on the Spurs with an aging David Robinson, there would never have been a point where Kobe and David Robinson would have been able to beat Duncan and Shaq at that time. So that's why it's flawed logic.
That's a hypothetical.
Y'all be safe. Y'all be easy.
You just use a hypothetical for Will and Bill Russell.
Salute.